Oh! CS Gamer Rage from today.
More, yeah, the inexperience that was coming through in the end. Not necessarily bad calling or anything, so...
Yeah.
That's rough. Calling or through in the... Yeah, the inexperience that was coming through in the end. Not necessarily bad calling or anything, so... That's rough.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we're taking that table out of your winnings, I'm afraid.
Rip. Wait, what is this? 1 hour ago.
I'm in my big pants era. I wear a lot of big pants, and people make fun of me, but I'm like, the bigger the better. That's my attitude on pants. I'm very big, so when I then turn around and dress in a way that like a waifish twink is supposed to be dressed as, it's like, it looks ridiculous. I still do it anyway, because I'm like in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I have the same build as Troye Sivan. I can pull it off. I can't pull it off. I'd still try though.
Trump's tariff talking points. Trump claimed tariffs would benefit the American economy in a big way. Can you draw what really happened? On April 2nd of last year, a little over 2 months into his second term, President Donald Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs on imports from almost all countries. Though this was not the first announcement of tariffs from the Trump administration, Liberation Day, as the White House dubbed it, was a pivotal moment in Trump's trade agenda. In his remarks that day, Trump made broad claims about how tariffs would reap economic benefits for America, including increasing growth, reducing the trade deficit, and creating manufacturing jobs. Since then, the U.S. tariffs on many impacted countries has been renegotiated, caveated, and even revoked. In February, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Trump didn't have the constitutional authority to impose universal tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, immediately invalidating the Liberation Day tariffs. Trump quickly reimposed a temporary global tariff of 10% on all U.S. imports under the new legal provisions that are valid for 150 days before needing congressional approval. A year after Liberation Day, what really happened in the U.S. economy? Have tariffs had the impact Trump claimed they would? We are giving you, the reader, the power to guess for yourself. Draw on the charts below what you think happened to the trade deficit, trade with China, and tariff revenue, among other metrics, and then see how correctly you guessed. A major motivation Trump gave for imposing tariffs was to reduce the U.S. trade deficit with other countries. This chart shows the goods trade deficit, or the difference between the value of goods imported by the U.S. and the value of the goods it exports. It's negative because the U.S. imports more goods than it exports, so that's a hint. Did the deficit get even bigger, or did it reduce in 2025? Draw out what you think happened. Well, let's see. Tariffs should theoretically reduce the trade deficit. However, U.S. dollar, I think, has been losing value. Which would also reduce the trade deficit, right? Weaker dollar means it's easier for people to buy other things from us. I feel like the trade deficit should have decreased. But maybe slightly. But also, this seems like a negative article, so I'm going to go up to here. Let's see what happened. I feel like I've read that the deficit got worse, though, but I'm trying not to bias my... Okay, well. Not good. In the same speech on April 2nd, Trump described the U.S. as looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. If that was the case a year ago, then it is still the case today. Though there were month-to-month fluctuations in the trade deficit, overall, the U.S. trade deficit for goods in 2025 was record high at $1.23 trillion. Trump has been particularly focused on the U.S. trade deficit with one of its largest trading partners, China, and has added a cascade of tariffs on China imports worth billions of dollars. In turn, China retaliated with export curbs, counter duties on American goods, but then suspended most of those retaliatory measures in November last year after both countries reached a trade truce. The next chart shows the goods deficit with the top U.S. trading partners in 2024, with China at the top spot. With which countries did the U.S. goods deficit get bigger or smaller? I have no fucking idea. Mexico should have gotten smaller, right? I feel like we're pretty reliant on China. I think we just get fucked by these people, no? I don't know for any of these. I'm going to guess a little worse on everything, but could that really be the case? No way, right? Oh. With China, it decreased substantially. Who would know the answer to all of these things? The goods trade deficit with China shrank from 202 billion from 295.5. However, record goods trade deficit reported with Mexico, Vietnam, Taiwan, Thailand, and India. Thus, tariffs did not reduce overall deficit as much as shift imports from one source to another. The brunt of import tariffs on China is largely fallen on U.S. consumers via higher prices on Chinese-made goods, while U.S. exporters, dependent on the Chinese markets, such as for soybeans and cotton, have also raised pressure while trying to find alternative buyers. How much tariff revenue do you think the U.S. government collected in 2025? This was around like 250 billion, I think, right? Could have been close. Fuck you. Okay, it was higher than that. U.S. tariff revenue was 287 billion in 2025. It rose by nearly 200% compared with the prior year. Although a significant increase, the tariff amount was much smaller compared to over $2 trillion raised through individual income taxes in fiscal year 2025. While the tariffs were imposed on imports from foreign countries, a February 2026 report by the New York Fed highlighted that nearly 90% of the tariffs' increased economic burden was shouldered by U.S. firms and consumers. Monthly manufacturing jobs. I feel like our jobs market has been stalling. Stalin, get it? Stalin! Oh, Stalin! Oh my God! That's it. Manufacturing job numbers have fallen by 71,000 between April 2025 and March 2026. Manufacturing economic activity contracted for 8 consecutive months until December before reviving in January. Well, that's not good. U.S. monthly durable goods inflation. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Have we already calculated GDP growth for 2025? Oh my God. Dude, I just know everything. I'm basically psychic. Let's go with that. What was the public opinion during the Lewinsky scandal? All I see are people calling Bill crazy for fumbling someone who looks like Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, it was a huge shame it was really bad for everybody involved, I think.
approximately 1.5
Breaking. The White House says that Trump has discussed withdrawing from NATO and will discuss it during his meeting with NATO Secretary General Rute. Uh-oh. Hasan slap.
Now to the Michigan Senate race, where a Democratic candidate is forging a controversial alliance with a left-wing streamer who has defended Hamas terrorists.
Oh! That's better. Instead of anti-Semitic. Thank you.
Abu al-Sayed campaigned yesterday with 34-year-old Hasan Piker, who has more than...
How mad do you think he is? She said his age. Sorry, it was my bad.
Abu al-Sayed campaigned yesterday with 34-year-old Hasan Piker, who has more than 3 million followers on the gaming platform Twitch, as well as YouTube. Here he is at the al-Sayed rally in Ann Arbor.
Blood's pushing 50. If you round up, like if the number line went from 0 to 50 and you had to round up, he would be 50 years old basically, right?
Every single person in here, and myself included, saw heinous war crimes take place every single day for the past 2.5 years. And we didn't stand idly by, we spoke out. And in the beginning, it was a lot lonelier when we spoke out. They used the same exact heinous smears. They said you're anti-Semitic. They said you were a radical Islamist, you're a radical fundamentalist, but also really woke at the same time. Doesn't really make sense. And back then, I felt a lot lonelier, but I don't feel lonely anymore.
That is Hasan Piker attempting to airbrush his past statements.
Damn.
Here's some of what he actually has said about the depravity of the October 7th terror attack, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Quote, "It doesn't matter if effing rapes happened on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me. The Palestinian resistance is not perfect." Now, let that sink in. Hasan Piker is excusing sexual violence by Hamas terrorists. He also claims Hamas is, quote, 1,000 times better than Israel. Hamas is a designated terror organization, not just by the U.S., but by the EU, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, just to name a few. And here's what Piker said about the horrors of September 11th, 2001.
America deserved 9/11, dude. F it. I'm saying it. Like, we fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We fucking did.
Now, Piker did later call that comment inappropriate and said he didn't mean Americans deserved to die. Several progressive politicians have appeared with Piker on Twitch, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Congressman Ro Khanna. Other Democrats, including al-Sayed's primary opponents in Michigan.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Dan, where are you? Dan, where did Dan go? Dan, where did he go?
Mallory McMorrow and Haley Stevens not only refuse, but both condemn Piker and his comments. My panel is back now. David Chalian?
Oh, we have a panel to talk about him. Oh, shit. Also, oh yeah, how mad is Hasan that they played him with before he had his mic adjustments? before he knew how to do the Riz voice when he was talking to his fellow socialists before the Riz.
America deserved 9/11, dude. F it. I'm saying it. Like, we fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit.
What narrative do we have to spin to get them to play the... What a Weasley little liar, dude. On CNN. God.
Not only refuse, but both condemn Piker and his comments. My panel is back now. David Chalian?
I just think this is a fascinating bet that al-Sayed is making here. That, like, refusing to back down from his association with Piker, embracing it, standing with him, is a political bet. And it doesn't mean, you know, all those comments you went through, that that will play a role here too. As you noted, McMorrow and Stevens, his opponents, are going to make this a part of the campaign. But the Syed operation is betting the Piker popularity with the base is the safer bet in the cost-benefit analysis to make for him. And I just think that that's a really interesting thing to have us watch, because the politics of Israel inside the Democratic Party, especially in a state of Michigan, with a big Arab American population, as we saw in the 24 primary, this is still like a live wire inside the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a state where there were almost 100-something preschoolers almost murdered by a terrorist.
A terrorist?
Who, obviously was, thank God, stopped from doing it. Piker talked to our colleague, Donnie O'Sullivan, and a couple of...
Is his name really Donnie? I thought it was Donnie.
weeks ago, and I want to play what he said.
I've spent my entire professional media career and far beyond that combating anti-Semitism. I've been doxxed, swatted by neo-Nazis for my consistent advocacy against anti-Semitism.
I love how, God, I just need to start making up lies. I need more lies. I just need to lie about everything. With SWAT, you've never, bro.
I just also happen to be an avowed anti-Zionist. I believe Zionism is a very racist ideology. It's an ethno-religious supremacist ideology, and it's the underpinning ideology that has caused the genocide of Palestinians.
Has Hasan been doxxed? Hasan self-doxxed by buying a multi-million-dollar mansion in a celebrity fucking neighborhood. What do you mean? No, he's fucking retarded.
In the hands of Israel and also the United States of America.
Now, just a little bit of sort of fact-checking here and context, because it's important, because these terms are thrown around without, understandably, people really...
Fact-checking? Wait, are they going to fact-check him on the swatting thing? You don't think he's ever been swatted? No, of course not. If he was swatted, he would have been crying about it for months. You would hear about it so often. I'm not even sure if I've ever heard him say he's been swatted before. Until recently. Maybe he said it once in the past. I don't know if I've ever heard him say it. I'm sure he has. But didn't Ludwig blame you for doxing Hasan? Yeah, because I was talking about some news article or whatever. I tweeted out some news article about his house thing. But I mean, it was already posted. It was already like a...
really knowing what they mean to a lot of people. First of all, Zionism. What is it actually? It's a nationalist movement, an ideology supporting the notion of a Jewish state, the Jewish people's right to self-determination. He just called that a racist ideology, the right for Jews to have self-determination. Deborah Lipstadt, who is one of the foremost experts, academic experts, who worked in the State Department on anti-Semitism. I talked to her about this a couple of years ago and many times since. The difference between quote-unquote anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Here's how she answered that.
Criticism of Israeli policy is not anti-Semitism, but when you question the right of Jews to a national identity, when you question the existence of a Jewish state, you move beyond the political.
You really gotta flesh that one out way more. Because actually, what the fuck am I saying? It's Americans. They're fucking retarded. Who knows? I don't know. Like, there are a lot of people in the Middle East who want, like, their own country. Well, the Kurds are probably, like, the best examples of this, right? Of, like, a people. There are, like, groups of people who want their own country. And the idea that, Jews have a right to self-determination, sure. But, like, what about every other group that wants, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when you, I think he's sort of intentionally trying to get in the weeds here to maybe shift the spotlight away from some of his past comments, which I think everyone can agree are unacceptable. But this is the broader issue, I think, in this day and age in particular, with everybody being so online, with a ton of younger voters starting to get in the mix on both sides of the aisle. The ultimate question is, how far do we want to go with this? And one of the reasons that Democrats lost in the last election was because the American people felt like they were too far to the left and they weren't necessarily representing
the Kurds need someone to give them land for a country. No, I mean, they've already got it in Iraq, baby.
Average American voter. And so it's really interesting that you...
Why are you spamming? Morbler is a retarded fucking lefty dick suck, okay? He types dumb questions in chat constantly. Why? What do you want me to say? Destiny, aren't you not supposed to bring attention to it, though, so not to encourage it to happen again? Then why is he bringing it up now? What do you mean? No, no. If Hasan was swatted, he would constantly be crying about it. Hasan always does this thing where he'll make an excuse for why he doesn't talk about a thing, but the reality is it's just not happening. Think about it. Who would even swat Hasan? Center-left libs are, not to be mean to you guys, I love you guys, but don't swat people. They're too boring. They don't really do that. The only people that engage in that behavior are either really far-right people or maybe really far-left people. It wouldn't surprise me if the far-lefty people were doing it, too. Although I don't know if I've personally seen that. But I know the far-right people do, and maybe the far-lefty people. Hasan doesn't ever fight the far-right. He just doesn't. He literally doesn't do this. He's only attacking Democrats constantly. At Destiny, have you considered that some of the hoopla related to some of DGG's misconceptions about your Israel-Palestine position is that you use the term anti-Semitism for both the standard bigotry and unfleshed-out policy positions that result in Jewish harm? Like you'd say a random retarded college student who says one-state solution has an anti-Semitic prescription. I feel like I don't usually bring up the anti-Semitic argument much at all. I hate the argument. I just talked to Tim Miller, and I think one of my first points that I brought up was stop attacking us on anti-Semitism. I don't think I bring this up very much. I don't like the anti-Semitic. I just criticized this woman for what I think was probably not far enough to call something anti-Semitism. All I say is that the people that advocate for a one-state solution are more or less kind of like pushing in the direction of what would probably be like a Jewish genocide that they really don't give a fuck about, wouldn't do anything to stop. That's all I'm saying, which is most likely true. But I don't usually wheel out the anti-Semitic, you're being anti-Semitic arguments. It's just usually not worth it. And I just don't usually like broad labels like that because I'd rather, if I do bring it out, it's usually in conjunction with either some kind of policy thing or some kind of like line of argumentation. It's really boring to just dismiss people with that anti-Semitic or racist or whatever line.
Have candidates who are teaming up with people who are sort of on the very far left side of it. On the flip side, you called
Soy Pill anti-Semitic like 5 times. I said that Soy Pill was using anti-Semitic tropes. When you say things like Jews need to go back to wherever, that's an anti-Semitic trope. It's used to undermine the history of fucking Jewish people in the Middle East or whatever. That's an anti-Semitic trope. I don't know if I ever said Soy Pill is anti-Semitic. If I did, I was being imprecise, or I was referring to the fact that he has like the anti-Semitic dog whistles without even realizing it. I don't think the Soy Pill is anti-Semitic. I don't think, or at least I've never seen anything from him to make me think that he hates Jewish people.
the same issue in the Republican Party, where you have fringe folks sort of trying to weasel their...
He's Jewish, you know? Is the Soy Pill Jewish? Bro, I don't have any Judar at all, okay? Fuck you. I don't even know if you're trolling me or not.
...their way into in the Republican Party, where you have fringe folks sort of trying to weasel their way into this quote-unquote mainstream orbit. And there's a question with both parties of what do we do with these folks? Should we be going on their podcast? Should we be denouncing them?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important point. What was before thought of as fringe, here, both sides are definitely sort of moving into the mainstream.
His real name is Levi Soypilstein? Holy shit, really?
Slowly but surely. On that note, you mentioned it's Michigan, but it's beyond that. Ro Khanna, for example, he said that he has no regrets about appearing on Hasan Piker's show.
It's interesting because going back to the last presidential campaign, you were mentioning the Democrats moving to the left. Another reason they struggled is, you know, they often face criticism on not meeting people where they were, just communication-wise, right? And, you know, Hasan Piker, other influencers, these people have millions of followers, right? And Dems see it as a way to reach a younger, disgruntled base that is losing faith in their political system, right? But the dynamic that you're talking about, what comes with that benefit of reaching those folks? Yes, you had the interview there with Hasan Piker. I think what's even going to be more influential is the questions that are put to the politicians that choose to go on these platforms. They're also going to face the questions of whether or not they defend these statements and these views.
All right.
True. Noah Sampson, wake up. You are being sued.
5 million views.
Gee, what? Are we just going to live in a world where everybody's just suing everybody now? Man, good day to be a lawyer. Why?
Here, coming up, Dan. Sick Heil. 12 days, it's Hitler's birthday.
Okay.
Which also happens to be the same day that we celebrate Blazing, 420. How about that?
Now you're talking.
How about that, huh?
Talking.
What does it mean? What does it mean? We don't know. Google it. Today we're sponsored by Cozy Earth. Thank you so much to them. Love that. Today we are discussing old friend of the show, Noah Sampson. That's right. Spoke about, it's been a while since I spoke about dear friend Noah Sampson, who had a penchant for accusing me of being pro-genocide. He thought it was cute. He thought it was fun throwing around such kind of heinous accusations, right? This guy supports genocide. In fact, he had even a video called The YouTubers That Supported a Genocide with me in it. And, you know, that's the world we're living in. And, excuse me. In fact, I just Googled his name. You can see here I made a promise to him March of last year. And I think he probably thought that it had blown over. I think a lot of people probably thought it blew over. In fact, the statute of limitation is passed. But I, of course, kept a close eye on that. You see, the statute of limitation for certain complaints like defamation and the such, if you don't sue within, I think it's a year of the defamatory claim, it blows away like dust in the wind. But to those of us who are shrewd, we keep a tab on those things. And I'll tell you, this is what I am assuming, is that Noah himself thought himself to be shrewd. I had even alluded to it on the show. I said, well, it seems to me that Noah is ducking out, playing hooky on society. He seems to be on the lam. He's got no name on utilities or anywhere. That, for example, if you were to hire a private investigator to get the information on somebody, to serve them, he couldn't be found. Which I'm assuming at that age in your life has to be a conscious attempt. And so we waited, you know. And on the day of, or the day before the statute expired, we had a nice little complaint there for defamation, for accusing me of being pro-genocide, in favor of genocide. Horrible thing to say about someone, by the way. One of the worst, I would say, maybe even, of all the things you could say about someone, you know. Well, we filed it, beating the statute by about one day. Now, most of the time, people see these immediately, but we were under the radar. We filed it in Orange County, I believe, which is not trolled by media and press. So it went under the radar. Nobody even saw, until now, in fact, nobody knew that I was even suing Noah Sampson. Well, he knew since a couple of days ago, since he was served. But he's the only one. Let me take a sip. It's pretty refreshing.
What flavor is that?
The only one that matters, Tom.
Damn right.
Strawberry lemonade.
Shut up.
With caffeine.
Shut up, Tom.
All right, chill. Relax. You wait your turn. All right, Dubs. Get in line. Yeah, but turns out Noah, thinking he was clever, came off the grid. It was time to come out of hiding, so I thought he was doing. Because it turns out right after we filed this lawsuit of ours, that we did another very standard boilerplate search, like private investigators do every day to find the recipients of such complaints, to serve them. As you have to serve them as a very integral part of suing somebody. And I've been involved in a lot of lawsuits, and I've never had this types of trouble locating someone for service. But, you know, just like when the rain falls and the worms and snails come slithering out of their shelters for one drop of rain, so too came slithering Noah Sampson. Turns out, it wasn't rain, it was the sprinklers.
Problem with streamers, you play these god-awful boring videos, and you don't get bored because you're playing a video game, but we're left listening to H3 yap about nothing. He's suing another content creator. This is big news in my world. What do you want me to say?
Because we caught him.
I want to know what he's suing him for.
And we served him. And Noah Sampson, who was served about 2 days ago, has been pretty mum's the word on it, surprisingly, has been sued now in California for defamation. That's right. He thought I forgot. In fact, nobody should be surprised. This is me following through on a promise I made a year ago. And by the way,
it's cough slap. Shut the
many
fuck
people, friends and comrades of his, have said that I'm only suing women And it's been, you know, me, of course, I have a majority female audience who I respect. More than anyone in the world, I love, respect women. And so to dispel this terrible accusation that I only sue men, or women, I'm sorry, I thought it only fair and equitable to sue a man. A white man, I might say.
Very brave.
Well, it's equitable, and it's important for me to know, to the 3 women, that it's not personal, right? I sue those who deserve it, who require accountability. And it was a terrible coincidence, a terrible one, that the 3 people I sued for copyright infringement were women. Terrible, right? And I'm just happy that I've had the opportunity to rectify that, to set the record straight now, to sue a straight white man. And I think nobody should be more relieved for that, to have that set straight, other than Noah Samson himself, who's a woke, legendary king, and now he can rest easy at night knowing.
Does British civil law not include service? When we watched Repo Slop on anything else, a lot of people were like, oi, bro, I didn't even know I got that judgment. I don't know. No clue.
That Ethan Klein doesn't hate women. He just hates losers who do dumb and bad things. Gender, race, be damned. I come before you a simple man. And that's basically what I want. Know what it takes, souls. Yes, you are being sued. For defamation, a very good case, I might say, which I'm going to be happy to read you excerpts from today. But when his head hits that pillow at night, he can know that he lives in a just world where women are not bullied into silence. It's not about that. Gender equality is at the core of everything I do, and Noah as well. So take solace, my friends, all of you. Equality reigns in America in 2026, at least in this house. In this house, women, men of all races and ethnicities are being sued. That's what it means to be American. And I apologize.
What is for the
horrible optics that suing 3 women. I tried to convince everybody. I said, it's not about their gender. It's about their statements on the record.
I will love all women.
Their intentions to steal from me, but that wasn't enough. And so I stand before you, a man of the people, a man of all people, genders. With lawsuit complaint in hand. Noah Samson, I am suing you. Pa, paper on the desk. Hear ye, hear you. Sleep well tonight, sweet prince.
Oh, we got a background and everything.
Because gender equality suffrage for all women has been achieved here in America 2026. Thank you. And congratulations, Noah Samson. You've done it. Excuse me. I got a button now. Talk about freedom. Yes. And to move on from the gender thing, which is very important, but...
I had a quick question about Noah.
Please.
When you were saying it was hard to locate him, he was on the lam. I don't know if you could say where, but I'm picturing him like in a Saddam Hussein type bunker situation, like kind of like...
He may have been in a hole with ventilation.
Where was he? Can you say?
The truth is I don't know, because all I can say is he wasn't on any utilities or rental agreements or anything that any normal functioning member of society would be on, where it would be, you could locate them to serve them with a lawsuit. He was off the grid. He was with, as far as I know, he was with Bana Panada in what is it? Uruguay.
You can, it could just, obviously I don't know because I wasn't involved in the service, but like, my guess is like if you're staying with a friend and you've got like an informal agreement in terms of rent or whatever, then you just won't show up on any paperwork or whatever, but I don't know.
Right. But he's, no, it turns out he's right here in beautiful California. Right here. Did you know he drives a Tesla? Isn't that funny? I think people knew that, but they weren't sure if he still had it.
Why is that funny? I don't know, lots of people.
Because he's Noah flippin' Samson, champion of the people out there driving the Elon Musk car.
I love Tesla.
Who is, he's saluting the Nazis guy, right? I mean, he's like the white supremacy X.
Yes.
Anyway, let's take a look at the complaint. But first, let me talk about the Great Wolf Lodge. No, I'm kidding. I guess I should keep it, let's stay focused here after that intro. And then we'll circle back around to the Great Wolf Lodge, of which I always have a lot to say. So here's the complaint, stamped by the judge, of course. There's other ways to serve people who are on the lam, by the way, and it's not easy though. It takes a great effort because you have to prove to the judge that you've exhausted every reasonable and in some cases not so reasonable attempts to serve them. And finally, your only option is to serve them in the press. After you've exhausted all options, you say, Judge, we've done everything we can. We cannot find this person. And so you get permission. You take out an ad.
I'm sorry, hold on. People just typed up shit in chat. Wait, I can't tell anymore. This is like the Big Stinny Instagram account. Is this a real picture? Or is this a troll thing? I can't tell. What is happening? Scroll down. Wait, I can't tell if this is real or not. Wait, I can't tell. Hasan Piker, it's becoming increasingly hard to relate to a younger audience because I'm 34. But I think the reason why I have some semblance of credibility in these spaces is because I operate within them. And I primarily focus on trying to make things as appealing and palatable as possible. I'm always here to tell people I'm here to pull them from the margins. Or I always like to tell people I'm here to pull them from the margins, from the throes of radicalization. Why does how does he have this talking point now? I can't tell if he just like decided one day that he wanted to skinwalk me even harder, or like I don't think anybody's ever looked at Hasan and been like, oh, like he's the de-radicalization guy. Like what? Who's ever? Oh, is this where his Instagram thing just came from or whatever? Oh, it's 2 pictures. I feel like this outfit actually looks kind of nice. This one? What is this? Bro, I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
And like the LA Times or wherever, saying, hear ye, Noah Samson. You are being served. This is your notice. Isn't that crazy? But we didn't have to do that, thankfully. That's some good subs right there, boy. Tastes especially good today, brother. Feel hydrated. Now this document, I'll say...
It's 14 pages!
Good guess, it's significantly more, actually. That would be an anemic complaint, actually, 14 pages in this case. I know, Dark Viper, that's an unfathomable amount of text, but it's not about him today. So this document is actually quite important to me. It archives and sets forth for the record all the defamatory bullshit that has been peddled by Noah and everyone else across the internet. Baseless, disgusting, hurtful accusations that I support genocide. So this is about holding Noah Samson accountable as one of the main peddlers of this horrible defamation. But in large, just defending myself, my name. And this isn't something that's going to be litigated on TikTok or Twitter, which is where I know Hasan and Noah Samson like to litigate such things. No, this is going to be litigated by a judge and potentially even a jury based on the facts. And I'm willing to put that on the line. Here it is. Shall I? Number 1, introduction. Defendant, and we'll need something real nice, some kind of good music there. Hit me up there. Maybe the Haga Navila. Not that one. The Naga Haga Navila. Have a great time, Noah Samson. All right.
What?
Defendant Noah Samson advocates that the only solution to genocide of Palestinians is the genocide of Israelis, even if they vocally support the Palestinian cause. Through his entity, Samson Creative LLC, Samson published a video on YouTube entitled "The YouTubers Who Backed a Genocide," aka the defamatory video. The thumbnail for the defamatory video depicts various individuals, including the plaintiff Ethan Klein. Samson knew that Ethan ferociously advocated against the genocide of Palestinians. Despite this, Samson and his business, Samson Creative, published a defamatory video to falsely paint Ethan as supporting the genocide of Palestinians. The defendant's defamatory video was incredibly successful. To date, it has received approximately 1.5 million views and is defendant's second most viewed video on YouTube. You know, that's the other thing about this. Noah Samson, when he's not accusing people of supporting genocide. For example, his last video about the war in Gaza, the IDF's plan to return to Gaza with no constraints 1 month ago, it only got 3,000 views. So, the man has quite a vested interest here in defaming people. It's good for business, it seems. In fact, he said as much, which we quote here in this beautiful, beautiful complaint. Gorgeous.
It's 14-page, meticulously argued document.
True. It's true what he says, except it's 32. Can we maybe get
32?
Damn, you're good.
meticulous 32-page document? We need Dark Viper saying it though, yeah? Excuse me here.
No, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so that's in here, but he's quoted as even saying, shitting on me is algorithmically viable. The Ethan Klein crash out industrial complex is booming, he said. And he, of course, was the original and chief, one of beneficiaries of that industry. So I say cheers to you, my friend. I hope you saved some of the money you made. Damn, that sub sits different today. Isn't it? Strawberry lemonade. Damn, back in stock, too.
Cheers.
Right, Tom?
Right. Get it now.
Tom Ward, everybody. Everyone's wondering where's Tom? He's been missing.
I have a
They
regular
missed
job.
you. Yeah, I know, but they miss seeing you.
I miss them.
You have a job?
I do have a job.
News us.
It takes a lot of time, believe it or not.
Tom is a behemoth, man.
New sponsor today. It's working. But the kids are on spring break, so it forced me to run out of the house.
Spring break is brutal, man.
Kids at home, dude.
Yeah.
I've got ADD like bad. So it's hard for me to concentrate, and the constant interruptions and the fighting and the can we do this?
I know it.
Just the nonsense. You may see me tomorrow and Friday as well.
Just constant, just get away, baby.
Well, I think about
you should take him to Wolf Lodge.
Never again, bro. I've made that mistake once.
By the way, people found my reviews of Wolf Lodge, and I didn't know that they could see that. I swear, I guess I knew it was probably public, but nobody ever looked at my reviews, so. I don't know if Google erased a line, but I swear I wrote at the end of it, take your family here if you hate them. And I swear they erased it, or maybe Google, I don't know. The rest is there, though, which we'll get into, but. Dear, beautiful Noah Samson, I love to address you, my friend. I thought he would have ran to social media the moment he got served, but he's been pretty quiet as a mouse.
I haven't seen him in a minute. The last time I saw him, it was when he was pushing that clip of me trying to frame it that I don't care about Israel-Palestine. What's going on?
He seems to have a real niche for that. Yeah. It turns out Noah Samson actually is the only person that truly cares about Palestine. He's the only one, in fact.
The clip actually that you had me clarify right after. Literally right after.
Even in the moment.
Yeah, because I was like...
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I mean, I wish I didn't say it, obviously.
Not that it mattered.
Yeah, but I think it's a good example of who's being honest and who's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I remember, Avi said... I care about my family first and foremost before anything, essentially. And I was like, just so you know, that's going to get clipped.
Yeah.
They're going to say you don't care about Palestine because you said you care about your family the most. And sure enough, we immediately clarified it. And Noah Samson ran directly to the internet to be like, see, he hates Palestinians. Great guy, honest guy.
Free likes on Twitter.
Hey, collect them all you can, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm real curious to see how he crowdfunds for this, though, because you might remember when I mentioned I was thinking about suing him, he crowdfunded, like $200,000 for Gaza, which was fantastic. I mean, I'd like to even take credit for that if I can a little bit, for being the catalyst, for being such part of a forceful charity drive. It's just going to be a little funny when he's like, okay, now it's my turn. The people in Gaza, yes, they're still suffering, but now it's my turn. I don't think he's going to raise quite as much. I mean, the most of the ladies who crowdfunded was, I believe, Casey Tron, who raised like 50. And by the way, thank you. Appreciate that. Moving along, having too much fun here. Sue me. I'm savoring the moment. Damn, this is good. Get that gamer subside. GG. Code H3, actually.
Are you going to sue Ethan for defamation? Oh, I'm waiting for him to get to the complaint. I feel like a lot of these, opinions on people, I don't think are defamatory. Unless the goal is to just, troll people with lawsuits. Ethan can have the opinion that I'm a pedophile. And I feel like Noah Samson can have the opinion that Ethan supports a genocide. These are all... I have no idea how you could come down, clearly on the anti-side of this, how this wouldn't be, such an obvious free speech issue. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Does that get you?
10% off anytime, anywhere, on any product. Yeah, his channel's been struggling, though, since he moved on to other topics. Ethan and his wife, Hila Klein, collectively, are passionate advocates of the rights of Palestinians to self-determination and the establishment of a Palestinian state. They are vehement critics of the Israeli government, Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Bitch-ass Netanyahu.
Prime Minister Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu.
Really went in on the Jew shit there.
Both before and after October 7th, Ethan and Hila condemned Israel's oppression and violence toward the Palestinian people, including explicitly stating Israel's actions constitute a genocide. That would be in direct conflict with Noah's defamatory claim. Not good for him. Ethan and Hila advocate for a two-state solution to resolve the conflict. Both Ethan and Hila are Israelis. Ethan by naturalization and Hila by birth. Nearly all of Hila's family reside in Israel. Hila and her family are also Mizrahi Jews, i.e. Jews from Arab and Muslim countries, who came to Israel as refugees escaping violence and oppression. Both Ethan and Hila know that if Jews were expelled from Israel, the vast majority would have nowhere to go. This is the primary reason why they advocate for a two-state solution instead of one state. Samson.
Are Hila and Ethan's parents from Arab countries, or are they just talking about Mizrahi Jews in general? I don't know their backgrounds at all. I have no idea. Who came to Israel as refugees escaping violence and oppression. Oh, okay.
To make his position on the Israel-Palestine conflict unequivocally clear.
Hila is Iraqi, I think. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, just Hila. Oh, nearly all of Hila's family was. Oh, sorry. I thought Hila and her family. I'm thinking Ethan as well in the run.
Israel must be wiped off the face of the earth.
Hasan's made so many incest arguments. Or claims about Jews. I just got mixed up.
He advocates that anyone who supports the existence of Israel is a valid target. He's an adamant believer of there are no bad means, only bad targets. As such, he engages in the very behavior and rhetoric he purportedly condemns to paint his targets as evil. Wow. Sounds like a bad guy, this Noah Samson. Samson knows that Ethan has condemned Israel's actions as a genocide. He simply doesn't care about the fact. Samson brands Ethan as a genocide supporter because he does not advocate for the complete destruction of Israel and Israelis. And again, this is a really important point to clarify and to memorialize here in this legal filing because
there's just no way that this works. Like, could you imagine if you could legitimately sue people for their political opinions on things? Like, there's just no way. This has to be like a Mimi lawsuit, right? I wonder if this would qualify for anti-slap. I feel like slap usually pertains to like government censorship, though. Like if the government is trying to sue you or somebody for criticizing the government, I think anti-slap stuff might. But
at the end of the day, I think the majority of people pushing this Ethan's a genocide supporter narrative is because I don't completely advocate for Israel's total destruction. And that's what it takes, basically, to be branded an enemy. The defendant's defamatory video seeks to prove, as a factual matter, that Ethan advocates for the genocide of Palestinians. And it achieves its objective by 1, misrepresenting source materials, 2, relying on clearly biased sources, some of which have also spread falsehoods about Ethan, and 3, through other defamatory statements about Ethan. This lawsuit seeks to prove that advocacy for the Palestinian cause does not require falsely branding advocates of a two-state solution as sanctioning genocide. To the contrary, doing so impedes the Palestinian cause because it engages in the very behavior that these so-called advocates purport to condemn. This is exactly what Samson did, and why the defendants must be held accountable for falsely asserting that Ethan advocates the genocide of Palestinians, despite knowing that his statement is false. That's tough. This is just some factual recollections. Plaintiff Ethan Klein lives in California. Defendant Samson has a California business. Yada yada. Defendant Noah Samson is principal business of Samson Creative, located in Orange County. Yada yada. Bob's your uncle. Now they talk about jurisdiction. This is all very what's the word? Procedural. Procedural.
Good job, Glamour. You almost one-guyed the fuck out of me.
How's the button? You liking it? Seems to be working good.
It's for defamation. Is Samson not defaming them by claiming the clients support genocide when they explicitly are against it? Why do you think this would be a free speech issue? Well, because genocide is a perspective, right? Like that's I don't know if that's something to be litigated in a courtroom. Like I would say I very clearly and obviously don't support genocide, and I've been against the crazier Israeli actions in the Gaza Strip or whatever, but somebody could have the perspective that, like, when I say valid, I don't mean like it's an argument that I would agree with, but like you can have, there can be, internationally, right? Obviously you can have the perspective that what's going on in Gaza is a genocide, and you can have the perspective that any support of Israel to exist as the nation that it does necessitates the oppression of the Palestinian people, therefore any support of the state of Israel necessitates you supporting a genocide. Like, these are political perspectives, not, I don't know if I would say these defamatory ones. Is there a clear definition of genocide? Sure, yeah, there is, but these are still political perspectives.
We got multiple buttons now. When it says slams the button, we don't know which one. We do.
Smash that button.
Which one? Which one?
That button.
All of them. I could if I wanted to. I won't though.
Hey, the button for me, bro.
Let's see. So, this is just saying the court has jurisdiction. He's in Orange County. Yada yada. So here's factual allegations. Background on Ethan Klein. Ethan, along with
the only thing I could maybe think of is if Noah Samson was like very specifically lying about certain things. Like if Noah was saying something like Ethan Klein said that it was good that all Palestinians, die or something. Like if he's making explicit and specific claims like that or something, then maybe. But just not around like the concept of like genocide, I think.
his wife are among the most recognized YouTuber content creators. I mean, if I don't say so myself. Right. We've been around.
Very funny.
It's not a joke. What, you think it's a joke? You don't think I'm one of the most recognizable?
No, I do.
So why did you laugh?
Because we don't like to write our own reviews.
Well, true. Right, but that's not a reference.
Wouldn't calling someone a pedophile have been uniquely heinous and damaging the reputation of the past? Maybe not so much now that everyone throws the word around at public figures all the time. If Ethan you started calling some random non-public figure pedophile, how would they protect themselves? Well, non-public figures, the standard's a bit different. But I don't know if pedophile counts as legal, like a legal term or an opinion as well. Now, if you were to say like he's a child molester, I think that would qualify. But pedophile, insofar as like attraction to children, might also just be like a perspective that you can have an opinion on. But I'm not 100% sure.
The Great Wolf Lodge reviews, are they? Because that wouldn't be a self-editorial.
That wasn't you don't, unless you own the Great Wolf Lodge. It would be a crazy thing to find out.
Thank you, and I just want to make that clear. I do not. Okay. That place would be run much differently. If I own that.
Didn't they claim it as a fact that you were grooming a 17-year-old? That doesn't sound like an opinion to me. But you could have the opinion that like somebody talking to any young person could be grooming. Like when you look at the elements of defamation, there are 4 elements to defamation, and one of the elements is that it has to be like a clear statement of fact. Wait, there's more. I think there's more writing on this. A false and defamatory statement concerning another. Like it has to reduce to Fuck. I don't remember where I read more about this. Fuck. If I were to falsely claim that Dan called somebody the N-word and that wasn't true, I think you could sue me for that. But if I were to say Dan is racist as fuck, I think he hates black people, I don't think you can sue for that.
That place, you know how it would be run? Not at all. It'd be shut down, foreclosed. They move on. I tell you, I own the Hilton.
Look at the Alex Jones case. Well, Alex Jones was making statements of fact that all the parents and everybody involved were actors, right? I don't know actually if that's what he got sued for. I haven't read the complaint, but.
I have this huge conglomerate, beautiful hotels. Why the fuck is the Wolf Lodge in my portfolio? Lock it down. Sell it. Rebuild it.
Ethan Klein backed a genocide is the claim, I think. Yeah, but like, what does it mean to back? And what does it mean what does it mean to say a genocide, right? Like, I think that these are political terms that you can have different perspectives on. No? Like, could I sue anybody who ever says, like, let's say I were to say, I'm glad that we killed all the natives. I'm glad. Fuck the Native Americans. We should have gotten rid of the rest of them. Fuck all these people. And somebody were to sue me for supporting a genocide. Can I say, or somebody were to claim I support a genocide? Could I sue them and go, sorry, that was never declared a genocide. The term genocide didn't exist at that point in history. Like, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not buying that one. I guess we'll see.
God. The nightmare.
So gross.
Our kids, I'm telling you, the chain of illness spread.
I mean, Noah talked a whole lot of context additional to those single claims, no? Yeah, I mean, I disagree with Noah's video. Like, as a political video, I thought it was fucking stupid. I don't think Ethan Klein or Hila, supported... why did I pull him and not him, and now I don't get to use my tech? I shouldn't have rolled a new class with 2 characters on a new fucking map for the first time. Okay. I think the video is stupid. And I disagree with the video. I'm just not sure if it's like actionable in terms of like lawsuit worthy.
Preds. Brucey was sick now, eh? It's ripping through our home like the fucking bubonic plague.
I think it's like the difference between calling someone a rapist and saying that you believe they raped someone. Well, yeah, it would depend on the specific claim that you're making, right? Like if you think that so for like Tilly, Brian and Andrew are trying to warp this into saying that she's making a false rape accusation. But the video that they were quoting, it had something to do with Andrew talking. I don't want to misquote this, but it was something like it had to do with like if your spouse owed you sex or something like this, or something dumb like this. And she was like, "Oh, like if you believe this, like this is like a rapist. You're a rapist if you think stuff like this or whatever." But she wasn't making like a rape accusation. It was the perspective of, you know, I think having this perspective makes you a rapist. Much the same that it would be different to say like, "Oh, like this guy's a pedophile. Why is he a pedophile? Because he's attracted to 14-year-olds or whatever." That's like a statement, but you're not making like a pedophile accusation. But if someone's like, "Oh, he's a pedophile. He fucked a 14-year-old." That's a different type of statement, I think. You know, one is like reducible to a clear and obvious fact, and the other one is like an opinion that somebody can have.
Plague.
It's a terrible cough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy. Anyway, let's stay focused here a little bit. Most recognizable content creators. Through their entity, TED Entertainment, they own various YouTube channels. As you guys know, yada yada. And we also own a streetwear company, Teddy Fresh, as you guys know. We met in Israel 20 years ago. Yada yada. Bob's your uncle.
So I was about to say the Stephen Bonnell guy is good at video games. I could get sued? No, because truth is an absolute defense for defamation.
We got married. Moved to the USA. We've been outspoken supporters for the...
So it has to be an accusation of something that transpired rather than just a statement about your character or disposition. Yeah, no, I don't think you can sue people, or I don't think a defamatory claim is about like your opinion on a person's character or something. Okay, I'm going to look this up, and I'm going to get triggered if this is wrong. If you just ChatGPT'd me. Somebody in YouTube chat said, accusing one of being a pedophile is defamatory per se. So in defamation, one of the 4 elements of defamation is that you have to prove damages. However, if the claim is a salacious enough claim involving, I think, felonies or sex crimes, you don't have to prove damages because it's assumed. So this would be defamation per se, as opposed to the ordinary one, which is defamation per quad. But you're saying that somebody accused somebody of being a pedophile, and it was ruled in some court case that it was defamatory per se. Now, I'm going to look this up. My guess is, and maybe I'm wrong, but my guess is that this person wasn't just accusing somebody of being a pedophile, but they were actually accusing somebody of fucking a child, would be my guess. But let's check. Miles v. National Enquirer. Oh, but the standard will probably also change a bit if the defendant here is a public figure, but maybe not. I don't know. Oh, but the National Enquirer won this case, it seems, as well. This matter comes before the court upon defendant's motion for summary judgment because plaintiff has failed to come forward with clear and convincing proof of actual malice, having reviewed the file and being fully advised of the premises. For the reasons that follow, the court finds and orders that defendant's motion for summary judgment is granted in its entirety. Sorry. Further, because issues of intent are now before the court must determine whether calling one a pedophile or sex offender is defamatory per se or defamatory per quad. So one issue, too, is that pedophile is used a lot. It just means a lot of things in society. Like, this word can mean almost anything. Some people will say you're a pedophile if you're attracted to a 17 or a 16-year-old. Some people will say you're a pedophile if you're a 40 or 50-year-old attracted to a 20-year-old. And then some people will use pedophile in place of actual child rapist. Like, oh, that guy was a pedophile. Oh, what, did he like 15-year-olds? No, he fucked one. It's like, oh, okay, he's like a sex offender. He's like a rapist. He's like a child rapist. Sex offender, I think, is a stronger, more obvious, like sex offender, you're saying somebody has essentially committed a crime or at the very least an action, right? Let's see. This determination has practical implications in this case. If the statements are defamatory per se, plaintiff need not prove that defendants intended the defamatory implications of a statement because the statements would have no positive implication. The statements would be defamatory as a matter of law. If the statements are defamatory per se, plaintiff need not prove that defendants intended the defamatory implications of a statement. Oh, okay. Whether the statement is defamatory per se or provided as a question of law, a statement may be considered defamatory per se if it is specifically directed at the person claiming injury and, on its face, without extrinsic proof, it is unmistakably recognized as injurious. To decide whether the statement is defamatory per se, the court must examine the statement on its own without the aid of inducements, colloquialisms, innuendos, and explanatory circumstances. Historically, a statement constituted defamation per se if it imputed a criminal offense, a venereal or loathsome disease, improper conduct of a lawful trade, business, profession, or office, or unchastity of a woman. In contrast, a statement is defamatory per quod if it requires innuendo or extrinsic facts to establish its defamatory character and requires pleading special damages. Although merely accusing one of being a homosexual is not defamatory per se, Miles alleged that defendants named himself a pedophile and sex offender. There can be no doubt that both statements subjected Miles to a category of persons considered deserving of social approbation. The court has no doubt that such accusations subjected Miles to public ridicule and hatred. However, declaration that these statements are defamatory per se also requires that no extrinsic evidence is necessary to determine that the statements are of and concerning the plaintiff. The statement here meets that criteria. The November article stated included on that list are dozens of pedophiles and sex offenders living in Boulder. One of them, gay photographer Stephen Miles. Without any extrinsic evidence, there is no doubt that this statement is of and concern. Okay, so yeah, like in this case, I could understand this, right? But this is not like an opinion on the guy of like, oh, he likes 15-year-olds. I think this guy's a pedophile, right? Like, this seems to, well, I guess depending on what else was included in the article, but this is just calling a guy a pedophile, putting him on a list of pedophiles and sex offenders. But also, if you're on a list of pedophiles, that's like sex offender. This is like accusations of a crime. Fuck you for making me read this whole fucking thing. I was right. Suck my dick.
Palestinian cause of self-determination.
I think that you're a just kidding.
Determination and statehood. And we're also fierce critics of the state of Israel, even before October 7th. Noteworthy examples include, on November 11th, 2017, I conducted an interview with Hila. During an interview, we engaged in a nuanced conversation about the Israel-Palestine conflict and expressed strong criticism of the Israeli government and the IDF. Hila also discussed how much she detested serving in the IDF, where she served as a secretary. On December 8th, 2020, Ethan conducted a conversation with co-host at the time, Trisha Paytas. Shout out to the great Zionist Trisha Paytas about the Israel-Palestine conflict. He explained to Paytas why she should not be dismissive of the, quote, Free Palestine movement and understand that the Palestinian perspective of the conflict, even referring back then, referring to Israel's actions against Palestinian people as a genocide and as apartheid. That's not good for you, Noah. On May 15, 2021, Ethan made an Instagram post condemning Israel and Netanyahu, which was liked by Hila because she agreed with it, let the record show. This occurred during the Unity Intifada that took place May 10, 2021 through May 21. The post was made specifically in response to the IDF destroying the Al-Yala building, which housed Al Jazeera and the Associated Press. On October 9th, 2023, 2 days after October 7th, Ethan, Hila, and the crew of the H3 podcast discussed how innocent Palestinians would suffer from Israel's reaction on October 7th because the Israeli government is barbaric, genocidal freaks. That's 2 days after. and genocidal war criminals, amongst other criticism. On October 12th, a mere 3 days later, Ethan conducted a near 4-hour conversation about the conflict where he described Israel's actions against the Palestinians once again as a genocide. Openly wept, calling the images of a Palestinian father holding his dead infant, and called Netanyahu a war criminal.
Oh my God. This was when Hasan fucking fake cried because he felt uncomfortable that Ethan was actually crying. I remember that stream.
Amongst many.
It seems a little silly to me that as long as you wrap it in an I think, you can still drop any accusation you like, an LOL, just an opinion, your way out of it. No, you can't just say I think as a thing or whatever. No. What about Jane Doe's accusations? Hasn't that caused you reputational damage? Yes. The Substack might be actionable. I'm not 100% sure, but the statute of limitations might have passed on that. My understanding, I haven't looked this up. Somebody told me this, or I think I heard this from a few lawyers. You can't sue people for what's put in a lawsuit. So like if I were to publish a Substack and say, I think Dan is a rapist, he might be able to sue me for defamation. But if I sue Dan and in my complaint I put Dan raped somebody, I don't think you can sue somebody for defamation for what they put in a legal complaint. I don't believe you can do that.
Other statements showing support and empathy for the Palestinian people. It's all right here in blue and black.
It's all blue.
And black. On November 20th, Ethan and the crew of the H3 podcast discussed their hope for seeing a ceasefire and an end to the atrocities in Gaza. On March 2nd of 2024, Ethan reiterates that he considers Israel's treatment of the Palestinians to be an apartheid and a genocide. On November 25th of 2024, Ethan had an hour-and-a-half conversation with the Arab online creator Lonerbox about the history of the Israeli-Arab conflict. On May 23rd, 2025, Ethan had an hour-long conversation with Palestinian activist and scholar Ahmed Fouad about pragmatic solutions to the conflict. Ethan Yalev also made numerous donations to Palestinian-focused charities. On October 16, 23.
She lied about her age in the Substack. It's absurd. Yeah, I think there are probably things I could have maybe sued for in that, but also like, bro, one, I don't know if I don't know how it works in terms of like going after her parents' money, because on her own, she has nothing. She just gets everything from mommy and daddy. And I doubt I can reach into her parents' pocketbooks for a judgment, number one. And number two, also lawsuits are stressful. It's a lot of shit and it's just not good. It doesn't look good, like to be actively, wrapped up in litigation, especially like as a progressive type or liberal or whatever the fuck I am on the left. Like it's not good for, it's just anything involving women. It's the opposite of the right. Like on the right, you could be Andrew Tate and rape women and people don't give a fuck. But on the left, if a woman literally says anything at all about you, it's like the worst thing in the universe. So.
A mere week after the tragic events, Ethan Yalev donated $6,500 to a fundraiser for the charitable organizations called ANIRA, Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, Palestinian Red Crescent Society, and Medical Aid for Palestinians. On May 17, Ethan Yalev donated $1,250 to a fundraiser for the charitable organization called Palestinian Children Relief Fund. On May 23, 2025, Ethan Yalev donated $1,000 to the World Food Program's Gaza Fund and another $1,000 to a Realign for Palestine. On September 28, 2025, You
need the people who come after you like this in bad faith to feel some consequence, though. I mean, I agree with that. I think there are certain accusations that I think are good to attack people on. The political ones, though, are... Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the civil litigation route for it, I guess. I don't know.
And Ethan donated $1,000 to a fundraiser, once again, for the Palestinian Children Relief Fund. Critically, on January 31st, Ethan Yalev, through the production company, released a feature-length documentary called Content Nuke, Hasan Piker.
You just need to get a judgment against Doe. It's her responsibility and also her spouse to find a way to pay it. Well, yeah, but I mean, I also imagine wasting all that time to sue somebody and then you're never even going to get paid for it. Like, fuck.
The Nuke documented how the prominent political streamer Hasan Piker repeatedly supported terrorist organizations, namely the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. And during this video, Ethan repeated and emphasized his condemnation of Israel's treatment of Palestine. Sounds pretty robust. And this is the problem for Dear Noah. He can speak in inferences and suggestions and innuendo. But at the end of the day, my friend, in court, we got to talk about the facts on the paper. And you're going to have a really hard time, as you did in your video essays, honestly proving that I'm anything you said I did. I look forward to you attempting. Before I move on
Don't you get to garnish wages? What? Yeah, so I'll get paid in 20 years?
The next part here, Noah Samson and Samson Creative has a fact-finding mission here. Let's first, before thanking our sponsors, there's a way of putting a little bit of a friendly separation here. Read my review of the Great Wolf Lodge of Southern California. I said of it 3 days ago. I really didn't expect anyone to see this.
What? Why are no fleas coming out?
You will get sick.
Why does he hate the Great Wolf Lodge so much? Is this a real place? I feel like this is like review bombing, no?
You will hate it. This is the absolute worst place on earth. Trust me. Do not take your family here. I swear I added another line. Take your family here if you hate them. Be that as it may, it has 1 star. I'd give it less if I could. 20 hours ago, they responded, actually. We're truly sorry to hear about your experience. If you were, you'd shut it down. Some wrongs can't be righted. Wolf Lodge. We'd appreciate the opportunity to look into this further and assist you directly to better understand this.
At this point, given all that we've seen during the court case, do you think people that still have the Substack retweeted should feel embarrassed if they also happen to be content creators while retweeting that Substack? Would that make you not want to platform them / collaborate with them? I don't know. The problem is there's like so much shit. It's just like a lot. I don't know if I would expect any normal person to keep up with everything. And my expectation for people to study or read or do anything are already basically rock bottom anyway. So
situation and support you accordingly, please send us an email. Blah, 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 with your reservation number and review. I'm not doing that. Because there's nothing you can say that is going to change, make me and my children unsick to reclaim the week of our lives that you stole from us. There's nothing.
I'm so confused.
Wolf Lodge. Here's the final Lodge all complaint with you.
What's the point of having FU money if you're not going to use it? First of all, I do not have fuck you money. I have early retirement money. Fuck you money is like 9-figure or high 8-figure net worth, okay?
Fuck you. The final Lodge.
He got sick on the trip. It's a meme. Does the place not get like actually review bombed, or is it like a fake establishment? It's real. Okay.
Audio button. I just did the audio button. There's a whole bunch. Well, not a whole bunch actually. This is all I've left over the years. And it also, of course, closely follows my 1 and 5-star policy to enact change. And I mean, when are you going to leave a review? I'm not leaving like 3-star reviews. I have a life.
Historically, that's true with stars.
You read these people like, here's a full in-depth review of my experience at the Olive Garden.
Jesus.
If it's 3 stars, I move on with my life. Right? If I love it, if I
Olive Garden.
Like, let's look at the 1 stars I left. Wolf Lodge. I need to say no more. This is the veterinarian clinic that I fucking despise. For their, I mean, it's there, but it's their, they were the ones that treated Shredder. I'll say no more than that. Let's see what else we got here. Wrist Aficionado, great watch spot. Holiday Road, I have no, oh, I remember. I hate this place, man. This was a Halloween pumpkin patch, and we went there, and it was fun.
Okay, I don't know what your mind is. Or wait, can we skip ahead? Does he go over any more of the complaint?
Anyway.
Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go.
Back to my boy, Noah Sampson. Could you peel that for me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Isn't she great, folks? Sampson published videos on YouTube through his entity. Prior to October 7th, Sampson never made a video about Israel-Palestine. Is that fucking interesting or what? Prior to October 7th, Noah Sampson never made a video about Israel-Palestine conflict. You know who had talked about it several times? Me. What a rat. Rather, he made videos talking about online drama, along with attacking conservatives and anti-woke content. After October 7th, Sampson suddenly became a self-styled expert in the Israel-Palestine conflict. Throughout his online career, Sampson has a notorious reputation for sloppy research, misrepresenting his sources, and making false statements. Sounds like a great guy. It's almost like he was jumping on a fad. It's almost like the industrial complex was booming, as he said. Despite claiming to support women and people of color, including Palestinians, the disingenuousness of Sampson's advocacy comes through when he ruthlessly attacks women and people of color who do not share his opinion. Below are some notable examples. Sampson is notorious for his attacks on Patrice Zena, a black female creator who resides in the UK. She makes videos with nuanced commentary on various social topics, including race and gender issues. During the public controversy of Hailey Bailey's being cast as Ariel in The Little Mermaid, Patience Zena agreed with the criticism. She felt, excuse me, she felt Hollywood was shoehorning people of color into Caucasian stories. Her solution was that Hollywood should focus on creating more content that focuses on stories directly involving people of color. Sampson attacked Patience Zena for her opinion and not rubber stamping Hailey Bailey's casting. Patience Zena made a video.
This seems like super not related. Okay.
Below are some notable examples. Sampson is notorious for his attacks on Patrice Zena, a black female creator who resides in the UK. She makes videos with nuanced commentary on various social topics, including race and gender issues. During the public controversy of Hailey Bailey's being cast as Ariel in The Little Mermaid, Patience Zena agreed with the criticism. She felt, excuse me,
Jesus.
She felt Hollywood was shoehorning people of color into Caucasian stories. Her solution was that Hollywood should focus on creating more content that focuses on stories directly involving people of color. Sampson attacked Patience Zena for her opinion and not rubber stamping Hailey Bailey's casting. Patience Zena made a video exposing Sampson's hypocrisy. Sampson has also attacked Palestinians who do not give full-throated support to Hamas. and the destruction of Israel. Ahmed Fouad, described above, is a Gazan refugee. He's a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, where he leads the nonprofit organization called Realign for Palestine. He's an advocate for the nonviolence and of the two-state solution to resolve the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Samson attacks Al-Khatib, sorry, I don't know how to say Al-Khatib, thank you, by calling him a pro-Israel genocide collaborator that lies for money to help Israel genocide his people. What a horrible fucking thing to say about a Gazan refugee. Like, how dare you? How dare you speak like that? You're white dude from San Diego who never even fucking spoke about the conflict until it was advantageous to you after October 7th. Let me chew my cracker in smugness.
Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go.
No. I'm chewing my lami. Is that what you call it, Jack?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Let's go. Come on.
Okay. The defamatory video on March 11th, 2025, defendant published a video entitled, "The YouTubers Who Backed the Genocide." The defamatory statement contained in the defamatory video are identified below. The first defamatory statement is comprised of the thumbnail and title of the video itself. The thumbnail for the defamatory video initially depicts 4 online content creators: Ethan, Mudahar, Turkey Tom, and Destiny. The background of the thumbnail was the devastated landscape of Gaza Strip with a photoshopped Israeli flag. The thumbnail depicted Ethan performing a Nazi salute to the Israeli flag. Sometimes after its release, the content creator Lonerbox, described above, criticized Samson's poor research and misrepresentation in the defamatory. And you know what this guy did? This arbiter of truth, this champion of the Palestinian people. After criticized, out of retaliation, Samson changed the thumbnail of the defamatory video to include an image of Lonerbox. How fucking insane is that? This guy, he really thinks this is some flippant, silly accusation to throw around, right? Yo, come on, not now. I'm kidding, Morgan, you okay? Just imagine that, thinking that calling someone backing a genocide is such a frivolous accusation that you just add people on a whim because they talk shit about you.
That was pretty crazy.
Seems bad faith. A true and correct screenshot of the thumbnail for the title is depicted below. The Nazi salute is a nice touch, isn't it? Now, by the way, for the record, I am not explicitly defending any of these people, as I'm not an expert on how the body of work of any of these people's coverage on Israel-Palestine, right? Speaking for my involvement in a thumbnail called "The YouTubers Back the Genocide," I know what I said and what I didn't say. These people are capable of defending themselves, and they have. And I welcome them to, you know. The second defamatory statement is Samson's false factual assertion that Ethan spreads atrocity propaganda. He shares the Hamas mass rape hoax, the same hoax that was used by the Western media, the U.S. government, and the Israeli government to justify genocide. Good luck with that one.
Why did I gain lifesteal from that?
That one might work real cute on TikTok and Twitter. Well, good luck proving that mass rape was a hoax, that it was atrocity propaganda. Good luck with that one, bud. Look forward to that. The third defamatory statement is Samson's false assertion that Ethan, quote, Ethan spreads overt misinformation. He just straight up lies about Hezbollah and the Houthis in order to delegitimize their struggle against Israel's genocide. He cites baseless claims from Saudi state propaganda outlets to attack the Houthis.
Can't bowl him from diagonal.
He also cites a documentary about the Houthis, which he used as proof of the claim that they brought back slavery, when the documentary wasn't even about the Houthis, it was about the Yemeni government before the Houthi takeover. Fantastically incorrect, erroneous statement that I can't wait to see him try to prove. Fantastic. The fourth defamatory statement is Samson's false assertion that he, Ethan, in other words, spreads long debunked Nakba denialist talking points. Talking points that have been used for decades to legitimize Israeli colonization of Palestine. Once again, can't wait to see you prove that in court. It's so nice and easy to be able to just say shit like that. That's horrific online. Can't wait to see you prove it. The fifth defamatory statement is Samson's false assertion that Ethan cites sources that contradict his own claims directly, such as the UN report he claims proves Hamas mass rapes allegations, which the report itself denies. Can't wait for you to prove that in court. You're wrong. I'm right. Works good in one of these silly little hit videos. Let's try it on a judge. The sixth defamatory statement is Samson's false factual assertion that he, aka Ethan, spent 20 minutes in the video smearing a 19-year-old survivor of the U.S.-backed Saudi genocide in Yemen as a terrorist with zero credible evidence. Can't wait. Yes, he's talking about the Houthi, the guy that Hasan introduced as a Houthi, the guy that was photographed on the Galaxy boat that was pirated by the Houthis, the guy that posted pictures to social media, saying he can't wait to spear Zionists in the stomach, in their asshole and out their mouth. Yes, that great Houthi young child, the innocent, poor innocent survivor. Can't wait. Isn't that nice? Samson intended for his statements to be assertions of fact. Excuse me.
Jesus.
Button.
Let's go. Come on.
First, Samson holds himself as an expert in this Israel-Palestine conflict. Second, to buttress his imprimatur of authority on the subject, Samson will inundate his audience with a kaleidoscope of citations, most of which he represents or are wholly unreliable. This is done intentionally so Samson can exploit his audience's low level of knowledge on the subject matter because he knows that they will not research his citations on their own. Third, Samson's tone is serious and earnest, which is reflective in the language he employs. There are some of the reasons why Samson intended and his audience perceived the defamatory statements as assertions of fact. The first defamatory statement, as mentioned, the first defamatory statement is comprised of the thumbnail. Whoopsies. The first defamatory statement is subject to being proven true or false. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines the verb as to back, as to support by material or moral assistance. The term genocide is a crime that is defined under the Convention of the Prevention of Punishment, Article 3, as any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or part a national, ethnic, racial, or...
Why do you think Lebanon is excluded from the ceasefire? Oh, it's not, wasn't it? I thought they said that it was supposed to be in the ceasefire, no?
religious groups such as killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, or forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Whether Ethan provided material...
Israel says it's not, Iran says it is. I don't even know if there was a real ceasefire. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I read this yesterday. Whatever those 10 points are, there's no world where the United States could have possibly agreed to any of it. So I don't know. I don't know what we're doing or what is happening right now. Like, I don't know if anybody even knows what's going on. Caroline also said it's not. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any fucking idea who's tweeting what or what's going on. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
Material or moral support to genocide acts by Israel is subject to being proven true or false. As demonstrated, Ethan does not and has not supported Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people whatsoever. To the contrary, he's expressly stated the opposite and supported numerous charities dedicated to helping Palestinians. Salami bite. Charged up with protein. Guess who installed a pull-up bar outside his bedroom door frame?
Who?
I don't know, look it up. Me.
Are you going to get shredded for the summer?
Mm-hmm. I'm getting ready for my next visit to Wolf Lodge.
To be the most jack guy there?
Everybody on the water!
Didn't Speed recommend that? Is that why you did it? Saw Speed. I showed Speed saying you should put a pull-up bar by your bathroom.
I did see that, but I don't think it was related because when I was a kid, I had a pull-up bar in my door frame, and I used to hit it all the time. It got shredded, and it really does work.
He said every time you go to the bathroom, you should try doing 10 pull-ups.
How about one pull-up? I can do that.
No, you just have to
10's
try.
a lot.
It's honestly so hard.
One's a lot?
I said 10's a lot.
Yeah, 10 is a lot.
I'll get there.
We should put one above the bathroom here. You get shredded in no time.
Cute that you think I use the bathroom here more than at home.
Well, luckily you have a lot of bathrooms.
I make a point. I'm surrounded by them at all times. Why do you think I don't want to leave my house?
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, protein up. Noah, sit and wait. This salami's actually fire.
Carnivore diet will fix that.
This salami, mogs, these crackers, and cheese. Thrown out.
Yeah, the cheese is kind of
Mid. The crackers, whatever.
Honestly, Trader Joe's got really good low sodium salami. Very good.
You know what's weird about low sodium salami? Tastes the same.
I disagree. I disagree. You taste it more. It's not like that weird, like over salty.
But you're saying you like it better.
I like it better. Yeah.
Oh.
And then I get a whole thing of parm, and I just eat that shit like a protein bar, dude.
Slices of Parmesan cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sharp.
It's very good. A little bit fills you up. Pretty good.
So are you still ketoed out?
Yeah.
Wow, you've been on it for a while, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I've had my spurts of like going off the track, but
You on it right now?
I am on it right now. I allow myself Saturday to kind of just eat what I want.
Even The Rock gets a cheat day. We see it on Instagram. Why shouldn't you?
I didn't know that. You follow him?
I think so. I just remember seeing for a while, it would just pop up on my feed. He would eat like an insane amount of food, like 15 pancakes.
I don't trust the guy that pisses in a bottle.
Nah.
Same.
That dude is shot. His credibility is
Red
shot.
flag number 1, the piss bottle.
Number 1 through 100. Hey, yeah, assistant, can you empty my piss bottle? No. Nobody's that famous. Nobody's that important. Let's see. As demonstrated, Ethan does not and has not supported Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people whatsoever. I read that one. Samson knew the first defamatory statement was false because he cites the nuke. The video in which has a clip of me expressly condemning Israel's treatment of Palestinians. So did you watch the video or not, Noah? If you did, why didn't you include that? Salami. Pause.
Salami.
Let's go. Come on.
Trump's been crazy lately, huh?
Get in. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
He's been like crazy even for him.
He's losing everyone.
He's losing everyone.
Yeah.
They came in so fast.
That's fantastic. Isn't it interesting to see? If it wasn't so horrific.
Bro, that tweet. Did anybody see that tweet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
There's been a few tweets now where I, and I think everybody was like, "Is this real?"
Oh yeah.
The most
Who's got
recent,
it?
There was the one where
Who's
he's like,
got
"I'm
the
gonna
link?
fucking
Who's
wipe
mind
out
melded
all
with
of
me?"
Iranian civilization.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone's like, "What?"
Being
Just open the fucking straight, you lunatic. He was like, "What is this?"
The problem is that you never know if he actually means what he's saying. He's just like so unpredictable. Like, is he just saying it to scare them? Like, nobody knows. Would he actually pull a trigger on something crazy like that?
I mean, he kind of already has.
and I guess in some
But-
cases,
That's his political strategy. He's like the unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
The
He-
Mad King.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Didn't vote for him, by the way. Didn't promote him.
Same.
Kamala, baby.
You got to watch the Melania doc because the back half of it, you see some really good BTS of him.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched the start of that. Me and Lena did. It was insane.
Oh, it's horrible.
I thought she was gonna try to be down to earth.
Yeah.
It was more. She's more out of touch than I could have
Oh
ever
God!
imagined.
So they couldn't even give.
Oh.
They couldn't even give her a puff piece.
No, and it starts with Billie Jean playing as she's walking out of the plane.
Why?
What?
I don't know. I think she's an MJ.
Fuck, nobody has it? It's a quote from Trump, but somebody's like, this is probably the best tweet of the gay orgy tweet. Nobody has this tweet? The bareback gay orgy one.
Fan, because in Billie Jean, the Billie Jean routine, he throws off his hat in the beginning and he goes like this. At that point in the song, she gets inside the limo and goes like this. And I'm like,
Also, a little more in the movie, there's a scene where they're in the car and she's singing the song, and you can clearly tell she doesn't know all the words to it. But she's like, "We met Michael," and like, anyways, first half of the movie is horrible. But when they get to the inauguration, you see some really good BTS of Trumpy.
It turns out she's just really comfortable around pedophiles.
after like it shows her going to her apartment.
they came.
Telling everyone how impressive my first gay bareback orgy was.
They came in so fast and so hard, and these guys knew exactly what to. Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Pwah. They came one right after another, not at the same time. They don't want to come at the same time. They had to come right after each other. They didn't have any room. They came.
It's just fucking so stupid, dude. I hate this fucking planet right now. Jesus. Okay, this is taking way too long. Andrew Garfield talking about Emma Stone behind the scenes.
And she was like a shot of espresso. She's like being.
Wait, did I know this? Is every Spider-Man secretly British? The Tom Holland guy is British too, right? Wait, how many are all? Is Toby Mc? No, Toby is an American. This is a good old American boy.
Spider-Man is the dream job of all time, is it not?
It's pretty great.
Are you afraid of getting?
Okay.
She's incredibly energetic and enthusiastic. She had this sense of play and fun, which was incredibly exciting.
I feel, isn't that like a men describing women's romance novel thing? An incredible sense of play. Breaking. Pam Bondi will not appear for April 14th deposition over Epstein files, to the surprise of no one. What is this claim? It's like stupid and stupider. Breaking. Vice President J.D. Vance's new anti-fraud task force has identified nearly $6.3 billion in government contracts that are going to potentially fraudulent businesses. What is a potentially fraudulent business? What does that mean?
When I started to explore that one aircraft that I was like, this is shockingly affordable.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have breaking news for you. This might be the first time this has ever happened. A popular influencer who once said that they were against something that they likely thought they would never have the opportunity to experience, something that it's the popular opinion to be against, has now completely changed their mind once they realize that they do in fact have the funds to experience that thing. Have we ever seen this? Ladies and gentlemen, finally, some good YouTuber drama. I feel like it's been a while since anything juicy yet still fun to talk about has come across my desk. Seems like most of the things we've talked about involving YouTubers recently has not really so much so been drama, but instead just horrible or depressing shit. So, you know, nice change of pace. Recently, Linus Tech Tips, one of the biggest tech YouTubers on the planet, has recently found himself in a bit of hot water because he bought a private jet. And a lot of his audience is not super happy. Now, if you've been keeping up with Linus and how the internet has sort of been viewing him recently, you might already understand why that might be. But if you don't, there's some extra context that you should know. I'll try and fill you in real quick. This video is mainly going to be focusing on Linus's video where he actually reveals the jet because, oh my god, it's just so uniquely bad, even if you don't know any of this shit, but you should still know it. So basically, there seems to be two main things that are fanning this flame, you know, beyond the fact that most people can't really find you all that relatable anymore after you buy a private jet, and also a lot of people just have personal issues with private jet use. And those two things are, one, Linus is on the record himself saying that he doesn't really agree with private jet use.
Question: why is it that rappers are the only ones who can be like unrelatable? You ever notice that? That like in every other world, I feel like for actors even, and for especially for streamers, YouTubers, everybody has to be like, guys, I'm just like you, you know, how much could a banana cost? $20 or whatever? Whereas rappers are like, 7-figure retainer for the lawyer, you know, just got $50 billion for my last verse. Like, it's like, I feel like every other rap song, I'm exaggerating, but I feel like, what's the difference there? I wonder why. Isn't it because it's celebrated in rap? We need to bring that culture to streaming, okay?
Like, for example, he said this about Taylor Swift.
Taylor gets a lot of shit for her private jet use.
Jet travel, okay, yeah.
And I think that there is... Personally, I don't fly private. I don't even fly first class. So, you know, I kind of look at private air travel and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't seem great. You know, the sheer amount of fuel consumption. So I have my own thoughts on private travel. I don't feel it's necessary for me in any kind of security way. And I'm not super keen on it. I don't think it's great for the world.
And two, there's a bit of controversy surrounding how his employees are paid. The most famous example coming from a
hear him say that again. What do you say? Hold on.
I don't.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that there is...
record himself saying that he doesn't really agree with private jet usage. Like, for example, he said this about Taylor Swift.
Taylor gets a lot of shit for her private jet use.
Jet travel, okay, yeah.
And I think that there is... Personally, I don't fly private. I don't even fly first class. So, you know, I kind of look at private air travel and I'm like,
Okay, what? Hold on. I can understand the whole, like, I wouldn't buy a private jet. Technically, plane travel is some of the most, like, I don't know what word you want to use, worst for the environment stuff I think that you can do as an individual human. But when you say, like, that's why I don't fly first class, well, it doesn't matter if you fly first class or economy, you're still on the plane. Like, at that point, it's not making it, like, I'm polluting less back here in economy versus if I was up in business. Like, what? But, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't seem great, you know, the sheer amount of fuel consumption. So I have my own thoughts on private travel. I don't feel it's necessary for me in any kind of security way, and I'm not super keen on it. I don't think it's great for the world.
And two, there's a bit of controversy surrounding...
How long ago did he make that statement? Because this podcast setup is recent-ish, right? Like within the past few years? Or do you think it was like 10 years ago?
And I'm not super keen on it. I don't think it's great for the world.
And two, there's a bit of controversy surrounding how his employees are paid, with the most famous example coming from a longtime former employee of Linus Tech Tips named Jake Tivy, who publicly left the company and then made a video explaining his decision, with one of the main reasons being his compensation, with him saying, and I quote, "You kind of start thinking while you're working on your boss's third house if you're ever going to be able to buy a house." So
this is such a stupid... I don't know if he mistreats his employees. I never saw anything compelling that their pay is like really bad or anything, but like that statement of like, I started to realize my boss is always going to be richer than me. The owner of my company is always going to be richer than me. Like, yeah, welcome to being an employee. I mean, like, what? Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. What the fuck? As I stocked the shelf for the final night, I realized Mr. Walmart is always going to have way more than I will.
Those are the two main things, and I'm sure you can probably understand why those two particular issues might make the fact that you just bought a private jet look a little bit worse than it might otherwise. But again, like I mentioned earlier, just the video alone where they reveal this private jet, the way it's framed, the way it's handled, is just kind of bad. There are some real questionable moments, and I can see why it's kind of splitting up his audience. So we're going to take a look at this video, kind of form our own opinions, and go from there. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
So the April Fool's wasn't a joke? We actually bought a jet?
What started as a meme on WAN show when I discovered that a jet-propelled aircraft is not as expensive.
Linus forced to do non-scripted live content made it super obvious how out of touch and fake Linus is. I just don't know why Like, who cares? Or no, I know the answer to this. I'm sorry, I'm being autistic. I'm sorry, I just saw a stupid comment in chat. Desi, but you're taking it to the extreme. He says that he can't afford a house, supposedly, yet puts in just as much work split between the multiple YouTube channels that Linus Media Group has. So first of all, if he's an employee and not the owner, that's just the structure of the company. I don't know what you mean by just as much work. His job probably wouldn't exist without Linus. He'd be working somewhere else. I doubt he could do the YouTube shit on his own. Otherwise, he would probably do it on his own, right? Number one. Number two, I seriously doubt he couldn't even afford a house. What he probably meant was he couldn't afford a nice house downtown in fucking San Francisco or some shit. Is my guess. Okay? The fact that 10 people have typed into chat that this guy owns like multiple cars that he takes to the track to go and race or whatever. But I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Sorry. Okay, back to this. You don't have to... I wish that like when people say they want authenticity, they're proxying this for other things sometimes. Like Trump comes off as very like relatable and authentic, but how? He's obviously a billionaire who's super out of touch on literally everything. Like, I think just be honest about where you're at in life. You don't have to fake... No, I'm being autistic. I understand there's a huge value to doing this. This is why Hasan lies about his background and his story so much or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I appreciate Dave Chappelle for this because I feel like Dave is one of the few people who was a comedian who was honest about like, I'm fucking rich as fuck now. You know, like this is my life. The fake relatability shit on everything is just so cringe. Ugh.
Look at this video, kind of form our own opinions, and go from there. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
So the April Fool's wasn't a joke? We actually bought a jet?
What started as a meme on WAN show when I discovered that a jet-propelled aircraft is not as expensive as I initially thought. I'm serious.
Okay.
Even Luke was shocked. So I started exploring various options, and my uncle's in aviation and has been for many years on the pilot side, mechanical side, and operations side.
Okay.
So when I started to explore that one aircraft that I was like, this is shockingly affordable.
Okay, so right off the bat, and really this is my main gripe with the video, I feel like Linus is being extremely disingenuous throughout this entire thing. Calling any form of private jet travel affordable is fucking laughable. No, look, I'm not gonna play stupid. I understand what he's probably trying to say here, which is, hey, it's not a $70 million Gulfstream, but saying it's shockingly affordable might be one of the most out-of-touch things I have ever heard a YouTuber say.
So because of the non-disclosure agreement that we signed...
Like, I feel like you have to be careful when you're saying things like affordable when you're talking about private jets. Jesus, yeah.
In order to purchase it.
Okay.
Like, this whole world is very closed door.
Yeah.
I can't actually tell you how much I paid. But what I can tell you is that if you Google it, it's less than that. And the second thing that I can tell you is that with a little bit of girl math...
Says the guy who complains about tipping culture when you could tip 50% every time. I max tip every single place I go, okay? I think tipping culture is retarded, though, and I will complain about it. Suck my dick, motherfucker.
$0. I would have been crazy not to buy it.
All right, so this is where we really get into the kind of bullshit I'm talking about. Again, trying to say that you are spending $0, that you're losing money if you don't buy a private jet is unfucking believable. Also, the whole if you Google it, it's less than that thing sounds kind of silly to me. Oh, it's not the exact number you threw up on screen? Oh my goodness, it's almost like that's how buying any vehicle is. They're all kind of priced differently. No, but like seriously, once he starts to explain what he means by it cost $0, it just gets real eye-rolly for me. Like, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but the title of the video where they reveal the plane is The Gamer Jet is Real and it cost $0. Like, whatever, dude.
The engines were all on a service program from the previous owner that entitles you to completely refurbish them to effectively 0 hours brand new once they reach end of life. All 3 of those were done right before we purchased it. It's effectively brand new from an engine standpoint. Each of those refurbishments is worth anywhere from $1.1 to $1.2 million.
Each? And there's 3 of them?
The jet was also in for a 12-year service.
That is the most scripted line I've ever heard a YouTube deliver in my entire life. Hilarious.
And because my uncle's a shrewd negotiator, he put together a purchase contract for us where it was guaranteed that once it came out of that 12-year service, it was at Dassault specification. That 12-year service effectively cost as much or more than the rest of our purchase price.
So what you're saying is you got the plane for free?
So when I'm done with it, with the condition that it's in, with some of the special features that it has, for example, it is one of the few 900Bs on Earth that has a medevac kit. When it's time to divest of this thing, I should be able to get back what I paid and maybe even the bulk of what I spent operating it.
Okay, so to me, this seems like an extremely optimistic claim, especially if you're familiar with what it costs to operate, maintain, insure, and store a private jet. Now, obviously, I'm not like an expert in shit like this, but basic intuition and also like from the research I could gather, this just seems like normal aircraft purchase procedure. From what I can tell, it is just normal to service your airplane in this kind of manner before you sell it, because if you don't, just like if you were selling a car that needed a major maintenance, you have to price that into the sales price. So I mean, like, he's the one who just bought the private jet, he probably knows a lot more about this than I do, but he could could easily spend $1 million a year operating this jet. I don't really understand like where the idea is coming from that he's gonna be able to make all of his money back. I don't think it'd be a stretch to say that he could make back what he bought the plane for, but to recoup a bulk of his operating costs, I don't see how that could be possible. Also, and maybe I'm just projecting here a bit, but I've made some purchases that I probably shouldn't have made in hindsight, and if I'm being honest with myself, this is how I always talked about them right after I made them, trying to convince myself and the people around me that it was the best purchase I could have ever made in my life. Do I know that's what Linus is doing? No, but to me, it sounds like something I've done before.
And I know that you were very opposed to the jet in the lead up to this.
I was very vocal against it.
But the way that the math works, it's a little bit of cash flow tied up, but we're not actually spending any money, which is so cool.
Okay, so I mean, like again, I would really like to see this so-called math to where you are owning a fucking private jet and taking your family to Cabo in it, but you're somehow not spending any money. Like seriously, unless there's just something he's not telling us, which he did say there was an NDA, this just doesn't make any sense. Private jet travel is the most expensive form of travel on the planet. Beyond like using a fucking super yacht, I guess, but nobody uses those to actually travel like that. It just doesn't seem like this could be possible.
I assumed that jet fuel would be inordinately expensive. It turns out that it's actually really similar to kerosene.
Okay.
And doesn't really cost that much more than regular fuel.
How much does it store though?
It's just the sheer volume of it that you go through.
Okay.
With that said, I'm starting a family vlog. That'll be coming soon. And the first episode is going to be a trip to Cabo where I treated mine and Yvonne's families. When we factor in that the fuel coming back from Mexico was half as much as we paid to go down, it actually cost less than buying like a first class ticket for everyone.
Okay.
That was also really funny. Depending on when you're booking these, I don't know. These could be anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 for these tickets round trip. But I don't know. I haven't looked at flights to Cabo.
Hey, you gonna go ahead and retract my statement earlier that him saying the private jet travel is shockingly affordable is the most tone-deaf thing I've ever heard a YouTuber say? This now holds the crown. Like, I'm sorry, but what was the expected reaction here? Oh, Linus, you should have led with this. The fuel that it costs to take 2 entire families on your private jet to a different country costs less than it would to just put them in first class. Well, now that you put it that way, why don't we all just get one? Like, holy shit, dude. First of all, this means literally nothing because fuel does not even account for like half of your operating cost to get a plane somewhere. It's usually like 30 to 40%. And 2, first class tickets.
It's actually true though if you need to transport a half dozen or so people frequently as a business. Maybe if you're flying business or first, sure.
They're expensive as fuck. I put in some random dates, and for 8 first-class tickets, which I feel like is a safe, if not low assumption to how many people would go when you say you took 2 different families, from Vancouver to Cabo is 20 grand. I found a fuel calculator online, and while it's probably not perfect, it estimates that it would cost you about $14,000 to $16,000 in fuel to get from Vancouver to Cabo and back. Which, I mean, like I guess if you just had to get to Cabo, and your only other option was first class, and you only had to pay for fuel, yeah, I guess if you ignore the fact that you had to buy a $5 million airplane for that to even be an option, sure, you're saving money, but that's not the actual story. Like I said, fuel only accounts for about 40% of your operating cost when flying an airplane, which if you're paying 15 grand in fuel, and that's 40% of your total cost, that means that his actual cost to get his plane to Vancouver, to Cabo, and back was really probably about $35,000 to $40,000. And that's just to get there. So I mean, like, it feels very disingenuous to be like, oh, well, I mean, fuel is technically cheaper than the most expensive plane ticket you could buy, so we're saving money. No, you're not. You've got to pay the pilots, you've got to pay insurance, you've got to pay the countries that you're flying into, over, and out of to be in their airspace. You've got to account for the engine hours you're adding to the plane. He was real happy about the fact that somebody else paid that $1 million.
You have to pay to use other countries' airspace? Is that true? Well, that's not cool. That's not very bruv.
Per engine for the overhaul. If one single engine overhaul cost $1 million, imagine how expensive the cost is to operate that engine per flight hour. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. Like, look, personally, I don't really agree with it, but I can't make myself lose sleep over every single super rich guy who buys a private jet. If I did, I don't think I'd ever sleep again. So I mean, like, if this guy really wants to buy a private jet, I'm not gonna be picketing outside of his office, but what I do think is pretty shitty is buying a private jet because you want one. Obviously, nobody gets in the fucking market for a private plane unless you just really want one. And then going onto your YouTube channel being like, oh, well, it actually didn't cost me $1. It's super cheap, it's super affordable. Like, just be honest. Like, come on, you're buying fucking private planes, you've kind of lost, like, oh, I'm just one of you guys, look. Just be honest. It's more respectable. It makes you look better. Trying to frame this in a way where you're like, look, if you only consider one expense, this is basically cheaper than taking my family on a nice vacation. It's pretty questionable. Okay.
I feel it's a good time to talk about this.
Whoa.
Another major maintenance cost center on aircraft is the landing gear. So rough landings, total landings, and time all contribute to how often this stuff needs to be overhauled and checked. Well, guess what? As part of my girl math $0 plane, all 3 were completely redone months ago as part of a 12-year check. I'm talking the whole plane goes up on struts or on donor landing gear. They completely take apart the whole thing, new seals, new everything, new anti-skid, make sure everything's working perfectly, and they throw it back on. So once again, when we go to divest of this asset, it's a business term for flip this, someone is basically buying a turnkey, ready to go 900.
So again, like, Linus, you are the one who got the turnkey plane. You are the one who bought the plane with all the service that had just been done to it. Are the services that you'll have to do when you sell this plane going to be as major as the ones that the previous owner had to do before you bought it? No, but again, it just kind of feels like he's being disingenuous when he's explaining how much this plane is going to cost him and how much he's going to be able to make back once he sells it. Dude is literally explaining how, like, every part of this plane had to be rebuilt before he bought it, and is seemingly like, yeah, but that's not going to happen to me. I mean, yeah, it's not going to, because he's not going to put thousands of flight hours on this plane before he sells it, but he will be flying it, so he will absolutely have to do major maintenance between now and the time he sells it, and likely some stuff to actually get it sold. I mean, like, come on, dude, do you really think that somebody somebody did millions of dollars worth of maintenance out of the goodness of their own hearts? No, it's because nobody would have bought it if they didn't. I don't know. It just seems to me like he's overstating like how much money he's made off the fact that the plane had a massive service before he bought it. I mean, it's just like anything mechanical. Every time you use the plane, you are just working towards that having to happen again. I don't know. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding him, but to me, it sort of seems like he's overstating the value that he's received from this plane being serviced right before he bought it, and kind of understating the fact that it would have had to have been done anyways. Like, from the way I'm understanding this, he's kind of treating this service as like something he's going to be able to extract from the purchase price and like make back almost, when from the way I understand this kind of stuff, it's all priced in. Planes have to have this shit done. Regulations are completely different. It's not like a car where you can just ignore getting an oil change for 20,000 miles. You have to do these things for these planes to be legal to fly. This stuff is priced in, and I feel like he's treating it like it's not for his audience. Anyways, the rest of the video is just them touring the plane pretty much. Not a whole lot more to do with my main gripe, which again is me just thinking that he's sort of being disingenuous with his audience on purpose. And I don't know, I'm interested to see how this plays out in the long term. Like I mentioned earlier, it seems like this has his audience pretty much split. A lot of people feel very strongly about private jet usage, and I mean for good reason. It's literally like the worst thing you could do as an individual for the environment beyond like owning a super yacht. It's one of those things where if you're like regularly chartering a private jet, and especially if you just outright own one, you've kind of got to admit to yourself that you are prioritizing your lifestyle, your convenience over the health of the planet, which, you know, is not super cool. But, you know, at the same time, a lot of people just don't really give a shit. Again, for me personally, my main issue with this video is just the way this video is framed. To seriously try and sell to your audience with a straight face the idea that owning a private jet is not going to cost you anything is truly absurd. Like, genuinely, that's kind of crazy. It doesn't even seem fitting to call that mental gymnastics. It would be an understatement. Again, to me, this just seems like a guy who really wanted a private jet and now does not want to disclose to his audience the insanity that is the reality of the operating expenses. I mean, come on, dude, just be honest. Once you own a private jet with gold-plated sinks, there's really no more hiding the fact that you're swimming in it. I just don't understand why this video was made the way it was. Well, guys, what are your thoughts? Like I've kind of been saying, I don't really believe that Linus believes that this is a $0 private jet. Like, I can't make myself believe that a guy who's been able to build like a business empire truly believes that he's going to be able to own and operate a private jet for no real cost. That is literally impossible. Otherwise, everybody would have a private fucking jet. So I just don't really understand why he feels the need to say this to his audience. It's just kind of weird. Like, it's 2026. Everybody knows that YouTubers of this size have unbelievable amounts of money. Why not just be upfront about it? I don't really get it. Maybe it's just like a rite of passage. Maybe eventually you have to become out of touch with your audience. That's why I savor every moment I have with you guys. Who knows when it'll be gone? See ya.
Okay. Is there a reason we watched that? I'm bored. Had a bad date with this girl, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings out here trying. We all should be more kind and accepting to one another. I'm home. I'm sorry I was a little awkward. LeMayo, I just take a little bit to open up. I hope you had fun. I enjoyed meeting you, and I hope you don't take it personal. Don't ever put that message ever. Don't even bother wasting your time writing that. Oof, I cringe just reading that. You're literally telling somebody, I imagine, why you're not going to go out with them again. Of course they're going to take it personally. Why even say that? But okay. And I hope you don't take it personal. Didn't feel an attraction or connection, but you're a kind girl, and I know you'll find the right person for you at the right time. Holy shit. Wait, oh, never mind. This is a troll. This is a bait. Actually, I take back what I just said. This is actually a perfectly crafted bait message. I could tell you were taking some things to heart. I really think you should do some internal work to strengthen yourself there. Hell, I have flaws, and I'm working hard every day to improve my self-love and confidence. I'm always here for you, and I mean that shit because life is short. You'll always have a friend in me. Never ever feel alone, dead ass. This is a perfect bait message. So we've got, I hope you don't take it personal after doing the most personally attacking criticism, scathing criticism ever, okay? Didn't feel an attraction or connection. He could have just said connection, but now he has to put attraction in there, which the girl is going to read as like, oh, I'm fucking hideous. He thinks I'm actually hideous. You're a kind girl. Oh, so I'm an ugly fat fuck, but I have a good heart. I'm nice on the inside. And I know you'll find the right person for you at the right time. I need like a hyper specific jigsaw puzzle piece because I'm such a weirdo that's like out on the cusp of reality that I have to find like the exact right person. I can tell you were taking some things to heart. I really think you should do some internal work to strengthen yourself there. And now calling her lacking confidence and things, and now giving her things she needs to work on? Jesus. How do you decline a future date without making it so critical on the other person? You literally could have just said like, hey, I had a really fun time last night. Unfortunately, I didn't really feel a special connection or anything. I wish you luck. Like, have fun. Good luck. And like, that's it. And then you're it. That's it. You're out. You're outie. So you should lie. If your impression of what I just said is a lie, then you will be a kissless virgin for the rest of your life. And everybody around you is probably better off for it because you would be a horrendous addition to anybody's life. Go do some introspection. You need to do some internal work to strengthen yourself there. Okay? Good luck. Did she really take things to heart, or were you passive-aggressive? Because reading this paragraph, it seems like you're passive-aggressive and low-key reflecting. Maybe you should do some internal work. There were certain things she was saying during the date, like, will there be a second date? There isn't going to be a second date, is there? You don't like me, do you? Ooh, Jesus. During the date, and she started crying at the end, I could tell she was struggling. Oh, Jesus. I don't know, man. Okay, never mind. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. My friend said that he wants to wait a few days before he messaged a girl he was actually pretty interested in after their first date. Is that a bad idea? I think playing texting games like that is fucking retarded, in my opinion. Those types of arbitrary rules can help if you're naturally, I guess, like too clingy a person and you need like a hard and fast rule to make yourself not come off as like super clingy. But especially if this is a girl you met off of Tinder or some shit and you're putting days between meeting them again, then they could meet somebody else. They could go out on another date. They might think that you don't like them. So they start to rewrite their, you know, time with you. Like, I don't know.
This is a quite unfortunate fit that they put me in, which I think they did deliberately. This has shoulder pads. Like,
oh, that's why. Oh my God.
like this isn't. I've worn this before on stream. The guy who made this sent it to me because he was. This before on stream. The guy who made this sent it to me because he was like, it's the comfiest hoodie I've ever worn. And the designer who made this hoodie actually sent it to me. It makes my head obviously look smaller. I suspect it's on purpose. There was a whole...
What? Big shoulder pad? Or the Mossad is coming for Hasan's body proportions?
To me, it makes my head obviously look smaller. I suspect it's on purpose. There was a whole interview portion here too, but I did this ID Mag photo shoot a while.
There's an interview portion? Was the main thing just a photo shoot? Is that what he wanted? There were like 3 photos, no?
I'll back. Yeah, I know. I was in ID Mag. We'll obviously talk about that too. It's not that. I thought that was edited. No, it's.
Oh my God.
It's literally shoulder pads. It's a padded hoodie. It's a shoulder padded hoodie. It's ironic because I also did like an interview about fashion on the ID Mag thing, and I talk about how like I'm too fat and too big to wear this kind of stuff, like stuff that's supposed to work on like handsome slender man, a waifish twink, and I don't have that frame, but I still do it regardless because I'm a chud ass loser. What are you gonna do?
It's he has like he somehow, I give him credit for this because this has to be intentional. He has somehow maneuvered himself into having the most cringe possible disposition you could ever have on fashion. How can you be somebody who, because you can either be somebody who cares and then you put effort into either high fashion or just like looking good and having appropriate, like time appropriate outfits or whatever, right? You could do all that. Or you could be somebody who just doesn't give a fuck and you wear fucking sweatpants and a t-shirt or whatever, right? But he simultaneously positions himself as somebody who doesn't care, but then spends $20,000 on an outfit. Like, how could you inhabit both positions? It's such a retarded. It's the worst position to have. He could pay people. He could pay. I doubt there'd be any big designers that would want to work on it, but he could like pay like a stylist or something, or to get something, whatever the fuck, to look nice when he goes out or whatever. And he could even have expensive clothing or whatever integrated into the outfit. But he manages to spend a fuck ton of money on his shit while simultaneously not giving a fuck about how he looks. It doesn't make any sense. It's like it's such an attempt to just flex wealth. It's such a classless, gaudy way. He really is the Trump of the left. Oh, thank God, another podcaster in our cabinet. Yes.
Trust. For decades now, Americans have been told that we should trust the system, but our children are sicker, chronic diseases exploding, and the answers that we've been given aren't working. Many of us have come to the conclusion that government actually lies to us. I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary. This podcast is about telling the truth, especially when it's uncomfortable. I'm going to have fearless conversations with critical thinkers, including independent doctors, respected scientists, and leaders in medical innovation and research. I'm going to ask the questions and lift the taboos and expose the hypocrisy and the conflicts and the corruption. We're going to follow the evidence wherever it leads. And we're going to name the names of the forces that obstruct the path to public health. This isn't going to be about politics. It's about our families, it's about our children, and it's about confronting the spiritual malaise and embracing the truth. If we want a healthy nation, we have to confront the lies that have made us spiritually, morally, and physically sick. The time for half measures is now over. We're launching a new era of radical transparency in government here at HHS. I hope you'll join us in our mission to make America healthy again.
Wow. Syphilis is evolving like never before. Why do I feel like I never, ever, ever, ever hear about anybody with syphilis? Who gets this disease? I feel like gonorrhea and chlamydia are the two you always hear about, and then I guess herpes. But where are all these people passing around syphilis? It's huge in Thailand. Okay.
PC is a 43-year-old woman presenting to the emergency room with headache, bilateral hearing loss, bi from Latin meaning two and lateral meaning sides, and she had diplopia, diplo from Greek meaning double, and opia referring to a visual disorder. She had double vision in both eyes. 2 months ago, something was wrong. She had a unilateral headache, uni meaning one, it was just on her left side. But it was a pain.
What does lateral mean?
She had experienced before, she thought. 15 years earlier, when she was 28, she had an episode of shingles. This is a time when chickenpox is reactivated. PC is 43 right now. This is happening in year 2022, meaning that she was born in the late 1970s, a time when 99% of children got chickenpox. Varicella zoster virus causes chickenpox, which later in life can reactivate to shingles, also known as herpes zoster. And it gets into the nerves, causing very painful symptoms, one of which is a particular feeling headache. At the urgent care, given this history and her symptoms at that time, they give her a 1-week course of antiviral medicine, and the headache went away. So they tried that medicine again for this presumed second shingles episode 15 years later, and it resolved the headache at the time. But something else was wrong. 1 month after the headache, which is 1 month before she's presenting to the emergency room now, PC started having tinnitus, a ringing in her right ear. She just woke up one morning with the horrible sound blasting on that one side. But then her left ear started ringing too, and both her eyes became bloodshot red. At the otolaryngology clinic, ears, nose, throat doctor's office, PC was found to have something going on, but nothing was conclusive. Her auricles and her external auditory canals were normal. Hearing tests confirmed she had hearing loss, but reasons why were not found. An MRI of her head showed nothing wrong. PC was diagnosed with sudden idiopathic hearing loss, idiopathic meaning of an unknown cause. She was given a 12-day course of steroids because many times this could be inflammation related and things seemed to be fine at first. But 4 weeks later, it was only getting worse. The ears help maintain balance. They do this through fluid-filled semicircular canals that contain sensory cells. This is called the vestibular system. It relays signals to the brain. One of the first things that the doctor noticed was that PC's balance was totally off. And a repeat hearing test found that her hearing had gotten much worse over the last few weeks. Given that balance is ear-related and that her hearing has gotten worse, then it means that something very terrible is happening. It could be wrong with her nerves, it could be something wrong with her brain. She was given an urgent referral to a rheumatology clinic, one who specializes in autoimmune diseases, and they set the schedule to see her in just 3 days, but she wasn't going to make it to 3 days.
Uh-oh.
Hey, have you learned something from this video so far? If you have, and you're not subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe and come back to see the video that I publish next month too. I've made, on average, 1 video a month, every month since 2017. I do these videos for fun, and they're to teach medicine by showing cases and their associated stories. Your time is one of the most valuable things that you have, so I want to make sure that it's worth your time to watch every time. And I always enjoy making these. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. PC had polyarthralgia, poly meaning many, and arthra referring to joint, algia meaning pain.
Jessica was big mad about your convo with Tim Miller. Okay.
Pain. Her entire body hurt. She started seeing spots in her field of view. Her head was pounding so hard she wasn't going to make it to the rheumatology visit. She drives herself to the emergency room, where we are now. At examination, PC physically looked fine. A blood test finds she has some kind of inflammation happening. Every other everyday vital sign was fine. Her blood pressure, heart rate, breathing, all normal, no fever. Looking at her eyes, doctors found inflammation there. At this hospital, they did tests again and confirmed PC did have hearing loss. One ear was worse than the other, and she couldn't balance herself. But it was just these 4 problems. Given her headache, polyarthralgia, asymmetric sensorineural hearing loss with vestibular hypofunction and ocular inflammation, doctors have some clues as to what's happening. They write a list of problems.
Okay, she's got syphilis. What is this about super syphilis?
So, fit any of this criteria. All of this stemming from a single comment. On its own, this study didn't find. Do you remember that we sequenced Treponema pallidum's genome in
Oh, I remember that.
1998?
Okay.
And ears simultaneously like this. Lupus actually can do this, but typically lupus affects eye blood vessels when it does, and she doesn't have that. She also doesn't have other
She doesn't have
symptoms
eye
of
blood
lupus.
vessels?
There's a disease where the immune system inflames the spine completely, disabling a person, known as ankylosing spondylitis. In the immune overreaction, this can cause permanent hearing loss, but when it affects the eye, it typically only affects one at a time, and she doesn't have anything wrong with her spine. Every single autoimmune problem that PC could have would exhibit hearing and vision loss in ways different than what she has. And she also doesn't have any of the disease-defining problems of any of these except for one. So this is marked as a maybe. The only way that it could be this is if it isn't anything else.
Wow.
Which brings doctors to the final inflammation category, infection. Lyme disease. It's caused by bacteria named Borrelia burgdorferi. That comes from a tick bite. PC is in Michigan. Michigan has ticks. Lyme disease causes polyarthralgia, vision loss, hearing loss, and vertigo. Borrelia is a spiral-shaped bacteria called a spirochete. Doctors sent
And before
PC's
chronic
blood
Lyme
samples
disease,
to
that's
test
what he
for
has.
this. But a different spirochete that also causes all her symptoms but forms an entirely different disease is Treponema pallidum, the bacteria that causes syphilis. Because PC is having neurologic signs and symptoms, doctors stick a needle into her back to draw some of the fluid that cushions the spine and the brain called the cerebrospinal fluid, CSF. If her problem is syphilis, then it means that the bacteria has gotten into her brain. And when the tests returned, they found out PC has syphilis, but something was wrong. When doctors found syphilis, they reported it to the Michigan Disease Surveillance System. And when the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services got the report, they immediately opened an investigation because there was much more to this case. 5 weeks earlier, a 50-year-old woman presented to the emergency room with blurred vision. She was in a panic because she was scared that she was going blind. There were multiple sores between her legs. Her primary care doctor believed this to be a herpes simplex virus reactivation, but in the hospital, they found out that wasn't herpes. She had syphilis.
Super herpes.
When they asked her about intimate partners, she gave the name of a man that she had met on the internet 2 months earlier.
Oh, no.
She didn't have any close contact with anyone else for more than 12 months prior. 2 weeks later, in the same emergency room, a third person, a 60-year-old woman, presented to the emergency room with hearing loss, blurry vision, and double vision. She had trouble moving her eyes. Her face was drooping. They thought she was having a stroke, but physical exam found lesions between her legs. And when they tested further, they found out this woman also had syphilis. When they asked her about intimate partners, she gave the name of a man she met on the internet 2 months earlier. And she also didn't have any close contact with anyone for years prior. The reason why Michigan Department of Health and Human Services opened an investigation is because the name of the man given by these 3 women
was the same. What?
All 3 women had met him with close contact in just the time span of a couple of weeks. Public health officials called this man. He picked up, but he didn't have much to say. They scheduled a visit for him to come in and see one of their public health doctors, and he agreed to a set time and day, but he didn't show up.
Oh,
a couple weeks pass. At an emergency room in another southwest Michigan county, a 45-year-old woman presents to the emergency room with blurred vision and a rash on her hands. The inflammation in her eye looked very particular. When they tested her, they found syphilis. She had had close contact with 3 people in the last 6 months. 2 of the men tested negative for syphilis, and when she gave the name of the most recent person, it was the same name as given by PC and the 2 other women. And it still wasn't finished. At yet another emergency room in a neighboring county, still in Michigan, a 51-year-old woman presented with visual floaters, seeing flashing lights and worsening vision. These came 3 months earlier when she had cataract surgery.
This guy's a menace.
They thought maybe that was responsible. But not even a few weeks later, when this woman came in with headache, confusion, and stiff neck, they found out that she had syphilis. And when they asked her about recent intimate contact, she listed a few names, one of which was the same name given by PC and the 3 other women. All of these cases tracing back to the same person. Syphilis, as we know it today, was first documented clinically in the late 1400s, but humans didn't know that bacteria caused it until 1905. And 92 years after that, Treponema pallidum's entire genome was sequenced. So we happen to know a lot about this particular bacteria, which means when health officials finally got to meet the common intimate partner of these 5 women, they noticed something weird. A local public health physician reviewed this man's medical records around the time PC's case was reported to the state. They found out he had gone to the same emergency room as one of the other women 2 months before he met PC. The medical record logged that he had ulcerative lesions on not only the part between his legs, but he also had a rectal lesion too. He had told doctors here...
This guy literally is bleeding out his ass, and he's still banging all these chicks. What are you guys doing wrong on Tinder? Come on.
...that he had had intimate contact with a 60-year-old woman just the day earlier. This would turn out to be the same 60-year-old woman who presented to the emergency room 3 weeks before PC. When doctors asked further, he stated that he had multiple female partners in the last 12 months, and all of them were women. Typically, early syphilis for men presents as one lesion. It's called a chancre, and that chancre doesn't usually show up immediately the day after. What can show up as multiple lesions much quicker is herpes. And so this man was tested for herpes, but it was negative. Sometimes the test isn't right, and he was discharged with medicines for herpes. No syphilis testing was done. Therefore, the Michigan Disease Surveillance System didn't get the report. And it was from here where he continued to have intimate contact with local women in neighboring counties all along the southwest Michigan region. But this wasn't the weird thing that public health officials noticed. All 5 women had blurred vision and thus ocular syphilis, and this happened just weeks after their initial infection. Syphilis that has systemic symptoms like this quickly should be rare. If it does happen, it's most recorded with HIV co-infection and with male-to-male contact. People who misuse substances by injection are also at risk of getting more severe syphilitic disease, but none of these 5
my cat
women
starts doing it right
fit
now.
any
Hell
of this
yeah.
criteria. All of this, stemming from a single common intimate partner, suggests that an unidentified strain of Treponema pallidum was transmitted here. Data typically hasn't logged majority women to experience this kind of disease, and this is where some connections need to be made. In 2015, Seattle, 4 men were reported by local hospitals to have come in with vision loss. They were diagnosed with uveitis, itis meaning inflammation of the uvea, the middle layer of the eye's outer wall. Further testing found all 4 had syphilis. They were men who had intimate contact with men, and 2 of them knew each other. They were partners. 3 of these patients recovered some eyesight after syphilis treatment, but 1 was permanently blind. 2 months later in San Francisco, 8 patients with ocular syphilis were reported to CDC. 1 was a woman, 7 were men, of which 6 had intimate contact with other men, and only the straight man did not have HIV. 7 patients recovered some vision after syphilis treatment, and 1 was permanently blind in 1 eye. In 2015, syphilis cases in the United States had been rising for 15 years. It would continue to go on higher. Before 2015, CDC didn't have a good way to record ocular syphilis. In fact, PC's situation where her hearing loss was diagnosed as idiopathic, that there was no known reason for the hearing loss, well, there was an ocular version of that was happening to syphilis patients at the time. An eye doctor would just treat the uveitis without finding the patient's underlying syphilis, or the patient, just under the notion that they might have an eye infection, could have just taken treatment that did nothing for the syphilis, and then gone on to have intimate contact with more people, passing on the treponema before becoming permanently blind. So in 2016, following these reports, CDC issued a clinical advisory and an easier way to report ocular syphilis. And this is where we will start hypothesizing. Do you remember that we sequenced Treponema pallidum's genome in 1998?
Yeah.
Well, since then, we have a decent idea of what strains are around in different regions in the United States.
Okay.
In 2016, 63 patients with syphilis in Seattle gave samples where Treponema genome was sequenced. They wanted to see if ocular symptoms were being caused by a specific strain. 18 of them had ocular syphilis, and from them, at least 5 distinct strains of Treponema were identified, of which 1 unusual strain was detected, different from the other ones with and without ocular syphilis. On its own, this study didn't find clear evidence that this increased incidence of ocular syphilis was absolutely 100% because of an unknown strain. But newer evidence since then suggests that the bacteria is changing in a way that we've never seen before. In 2023, a 32-year-old man in Seattle came into the emergency room with fever and purulent urethral discharge. Purulent meaning that there was pus. He
Ew.
told the admitting nurse that he had an intense pain between his legs, and all of this came a few days after intimately interacting with a woman, different from the woman who he lived with and normally interacted with. And he said that woman he lived with was newly diagnosed with HIV 4 weeks earlier. This particular man was newly diagnosed at this emergency room visit with acute HIV. They found a single chancre between his legs, and unlike the 5 women from Michigan, he was tested for syphilis right then and there, and it came out positive.
What does acute HIV mean? Wait, what does that mean?
He was given antibiotics in the emergency room and given additional antibiotics to take home. These would clear out the treponema and prevent
The initial stage of an HIV infection, developing 2 to 4 weeks after exposure. Oh.
syphilis from progressing further, and he was scheduled for an appointment to start HIV treatment, but he never showed up for that appointment. Over the next 15 months, this man would be in and out of urgent care in the emergency room. He'd have severe abdominal pain, blurred vision, and a shooting pain up his leg, but every time, just before they would treat him, he would leave.
What?
18 months after his initial diagnosis, the symptoms were so severe that this man presented to the emergency room. By this point, he had lost 40 pounds, lost most of his hair, and he had become blind in his left eye. When doctors sent a camera down his throat to look at his
The
stomach,
super spreader.
they found multiple ulcers. They took samples from these to test, and they found Treponema pallidum. Doctors sent another camera through his other end and found inflammation, and they took even more samples. And this is where further evidence that Treponema is changing appears. When the treponema genome from this man's ulcers were sequenced,
What is this guy's priorities in life that he's still out there fucking getting laid and doing all this shit while this is happening while he's dying? Truly, we all should salute this gooner. Oh my God. Good for you, man. Jesus.
doctors found that there were 2 distinct strains present. This man had told doctors he only ever had intimate contact with women, but he hadn't for several months at this point because he had become so sick, meaning at the time of infection, he may have been infected more than once simultaneously. But also found was that both strains' DNA featured mutations not yet observed, meaning that the bacteria may have undergone intrahost evolution. This might have been from the fact that he discontinued treatment shortly after his initial diagnosis 18 months earlier, and possibly with his HIV co-infection. But all of this led to the most unique finding. Some specific genes were discovered that were a combination of both strains together. You can't get these specific genes without putting these 2 strains together, meaning that both bacterial strains had gathered together and were creating a brand new strain of syphilis through genetic recombination. Given that this man had extreme ocular symptoms to the point of becoming blind in one eye, and that this is happening 8 years after the CDC issued the clinical advisory on ocular syphilis, this is another signal for us to consider that syphilis is changing in a way that we've never seen before. And this brings us back to PC's case. When she was found to have ocular and neurosyphilis, she was given intravenous penicillin. When syphilis is found early and there aren't that many treponema bacteria floating around, it's usually 1 dose intramuscularly. When syphilis is in the brain and the nerves, like in PC's case, the intramuscular dose can't get into the brain, can't get into the nerves, but intravenous penicillin can get in, so it was given every 4 hours for 2 weeks. There are several things that are true that may or may not be connected here. First, syphilis cases in the US have been going up since year 2000. Second, HIV co-infection makes syphilis disease worse because of immune deficiency. Third, the prevalence of ocular syphilis cases appears to be increasing. This may have been happening before the CDC advisory in 2016. However, the increase could also be attributed to the fact that we're paying more attention to ocular syphilis. Fourth, Treponema pallidum is changing through genetic recombination. We have documentation going back decades that this particular bacteria changes slowly. But we've now been able to directly observe that different strains can and will recombine genetically to create new strains. It's not to say that this has never happened before, it's just that we now have evidence of seeing it firsthand. These 4 things are not an exhaustive list, there's probably a lot more. But if we look at just these 4 things, a few questions come up. If the cases have been increasing and there's a situation whereby the bacteria can cause a different looking illness in humans, and given that the bacteria can and has changed in ways that we haven't seen before, is it possible that certain new strains are causing more cases of and more severe ocular syphilis? Will these changes in the bacteria create a different syphilis with different signs and symptoms? And maybe the worst question that we could think of right now, from these changes, can an antibiotic-resistant strain of treponema emerge? We saw it happen in the early 2000s. Another antibiotic called azithromycin was...
Wait. Am I supposed to know what the different gay flags are? What does this flag mean? Is that the LGBT one? What is this flag? Like the asexual one? What do these flags mean?
able to treat syphilis. This was for the patients who are allergic to penicillin. But since around 2002, we can't use it anymore because the bacteria is completely resistant to it now. But that recombination paper from Seattle says that that particular recombined strain didn't feature penicillin resistance. And the question that we might not ever know, because doctors weren't able to take samples from PC or the 4 other women, or from the one common partner they interacted with.
What is this fucking flag? Can somebody tell me what this flag is? This is the bi flag? Why do bi people have their own fucking flag? So what does this mean? They have a chance of fucking the wrong cat?
Is did they have an unusual, undocumented bacterial strain passed among them? One that.
And what does this mean? So this person won't fuck? Please consult the chart. Okay. Well, this is just like the every person flag, no? Gay sex still gives you a form. Wait. Gay cats can fuck the question mark gender ones to still breed. What?
That caused their ocular syphilis of this severity in such a short amount of time. No matter what, we have this case to refer to now going forward. Syphilis isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Public health campaigns have been raising awareness about it, which, by the way, please see a medical professional if you believe you may have been infected, and don't wait and don't pass it on to others. And with research and application of past experience, we should be able to soon answer some of the questions about Treponema pallidum and the disease. With the right treatment, finally, after the right diagnosis, PC was able to make a recovery. The other women...
Oh, I thought this guy was trolling. Gay cats fucking each other still breeds in the form of a seeded stray showing up the next day with the parents' traits. Okay.
And the common partner did receive...
Did you see the New York Times wrote a story claiming to have unmasked Satoshi Nakamoto? What? No shot. No, I feel like I would have been seeing this everywhere online.
Some treatment, and presumably they did recover some. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself and be well.
17 hours ago. Well, the fact that they point to a particular person, I haven't heard anything about this, makes me feel like it probably is not that person, but okay. It's Jeffrey Epstein, holy shit.